Could we all be seated, please? That'd be amazing. Thank you. Welcome to day one of the Winter Summit 2019. We're very happy to welcome you here today. I know that many of you traveled from afar and often through some pretty terrible weather over the last few days, so we really, really appreciate you guys taking time out of your week and going through all that trouble to come here today. By way of introduction, I'm our resident British accent and MC in training, Nick Daly. I'm on the Ventures team as part of the InsurTech vertical. The summit is really the culmination of 3 months where 30 startups who kind of first came to us towards the end of, probably August now, they've been going through a pretty rigorous program, we'd like to say, through a lot of opportunities to speak, pitch, and of course, get to know all of you in this audience here. We've been really proud of what they've achieved, and actually looking back at some of the origin stories of those startups over the last few days, it's been really interesting, right? So we've seen startups come to us from hackathons within insurance companies. We've seen startups come to us through university spin-outs as well. And I think that's really kind of testament to how far and wide these ideas are now coming from, especially in this insurance area, as well as testament to what this kind of platform that we're building here is now achieving, finding these kind of startups from all different kind of swathes of life and bringing them here into the central hub in Silicon Valley, which is, I think you'd all agree, is a fantastic office, fantastic event space. So we're really, really happy with how the program's gone so far. Just to kind of kick off the day, what I'd like to do now is introduce our founder and CEO, Saeed Hamidi, to the stage to give a quick kind of run through of the InsurTech vertical and more.
Thank you, Nick. He has a good command of the audience, so I don't know, it's a hard act to follow, but I will try. I thought I will share with you a little bit of the highlights of 2019. I met some of our visitors outside. It's been an incredible year. It's quite frankly, we kind of occasionally think there is going to be a little slowdown or correction, and we have not seen any of it yet. The automotive industry took a little correction, I believe, but that's after 7 years of strong growth. But I remember the CEO of Ford, Mark Field, we started working together 5 years ago, and he told me, Saeed, this electrification, autonomous car is going to change many industries, including insurance, at least the car insurance. And my message is here, for the whole plug and play, please try to join us in our mobility IoT activity, because I think it's incredibly related to property and casualty insurance. But to go back on the highlights, last week we had our summit in Singapore. I believe we had about 600 people there. So we combined a couple of different verticals, financial services, including fintech, insurtech. We are also included the supply chain, travel and hospitality, and smart city. Also, I think in Paris, we had an incredible summit for 2 days. We combined financial services, banking, as well as smart city, and we launched our food vertical in Paris. And to stick to Paris, because that's the only city that my wife comes with me. If I say I'm going to a business trip, she says, have fun. But if I say I'm going to Paris, she says, okay, I come with you. So on the 16th of January, we are having a very big launch of insurance and fintech with SCOR in Paris. We expect to we had an unbelievable ride with BNP Paribas and Cardiff for 3 years. We finally convinced them to open up the innovation platforms, to to have other banks and other insurance company join it. You know, to just give you a little antidote, we do 20 pilots per year with BNP Paribas. Quite frankly, we don't accept a startup unless one of the business units has already agreed to do a pilot. And out of the 20 this year, 37% went into production. I don't know where they got that number. I would say something like 8 out of 20, but they told me 37% went into production. And quite frankly, that's the way we measure success these days. How many of the startups actually change the P&L of a division, either increasing revenue or reducing cost. Then we had my couple of my friends who I call Honey, they now tell me, Saeed, you're really lucky, because I don't know how many of you have heard of Honey. It's a coupon delivery app that we invested in at 2013. Quite frankly, many of the VCs who are a friend of mine passed on it. And about 2 weeks ago, PayPal purchased them for $4 billion. So anytime you get 1,000x, you have to celebrate. And hopefully tomorrow we can celebrate together. But also, one of the closest things to my heart is a project we launched about 2 months ago. It's Alliance to Reduce Plastic Waste. The Alliance was formed without us. This is the top 30 producers of plastic, CPGs like Procter & Gamble, Unilever, Dow, ExxonMobil, because they want to get in front of the curb and really reduce plastic waste before it gets into river and oceans. And I'm really glad to say we are launching that in 3 continents, in Singapore, in Silicon Valley and Houston, and in Paris. So if anybody would like to get involved, please let us know. We would love, it's called Sustainability and Reducing Plastic Waste. And we feel it's going to be the biggest initiative Plug and Play has ever done. And as some of you know, I've been in packaging and bottled water business for 40 years. So somehow I'm going back to my roots to clean up the bottles I produced. Thank you, thank you. I honestly, it is a very important initiative. And last time I was on stage on the selection day, we talked about smart health, combining payers. We have now, I believe, 5 hospitals with us. We have some of the Ministry of Health involved with us. So we feel if you want to make a big impact, you have to combine the service providers, the insurance companies, all on the same platform to be able to reduce cost. So still the initiative of smart health and smart city makes us super, super excited. Then we also, I have notes. Usually I never have notes, but since they gave it to me, I have to read it. We announced a partnership with IATA. This is the largest airline organization. We will launch a travel initiative both here as well as in Geneva. And then everybody puts on their glasses to read. I take it off to read. But finally, before I invite the insurance team here, we started what I would call vertical focus fund in 2019. The first fund It was called the Follow-On Fund. It's about $100 million. And we have in our portfolio incredible companies like Honey, like Rappi, which also like N26, which we usually after the A round would not do our pro rata. So with this follow-on funds, we would like to choose out of our financial services portfolio. We have about 130 companies. The best ones that raise additional money from Allianz, from Sequoia, we would like to ante up our pro rata, and we closed the first fund for retail and brand last week, but we will have one for InsurTech and financial services being launched first and second quarter next year. I think I'm kind of, also we opened up a bunch of offices. The best office I think that it's new is in Sao Paulo, Brazil. But through our Japan office, we opened an office in Kyoto. We also opened an office in Houston. And on the request of Walmart, J.B. Hans, and Tyson, we opened an office in Northwest Arkansas, Bentonville, for supply chain and logistic. But with that, I want to invite the leadership of InsurTech to the podium here. I think there is 7 of you. Please come on up. As you know, Ali was leading our InsurTech team, and like everybody else in Plug and Play, he decided to do a startup. We are investing in the startup, so we are not sad, but we are sort of organizing the InsurTech team. We had a great amount of pilots, but I want to just go like 1 minute each for each person to introduce themselves to you.
Hello, everybody. I'm Trisha Forschinger, Director of Partner Success for InsurTech. Love working with all of my corporate partners here, as well as all the startups in our ecosystem.
So who likes Trisha?
Hello, everyone. My name is Karen, and first off, thank you guys so much for being on this journey with all of us. It's been an amazing opportunity. So I'm a Director of Corporate Partnerships, and thank you again.
Hi, everyone. I'm Laura Miller. It's a pleasure getting to know all of you. Thank you for coming. I'm the Director of Operations right now for our InsurTech vertical.
Hi, everyone. My name is Eugenio. I oversee the investment team on the InsurTech side. We're very excited to be here to see the conclusion of the batch. Please shout out to Rachel Sapienza and Zoe Wu, who are the program managers. Without them, this couldn't be possible. And we thank you all for coming today.
My name is Hutch Maranye. I know many of you in the audience, as I've been here about 3 years now, but very much looking forward to meeting the rest of you. I kind of do a lot of the public speaking and obnoxious jokes on stage around here, but also a lot of the partner engagement and strategy. So again, if I don't know you, please come up and say hello, and looking forward to meeting everybody today.
And hi, everyone. I'm Stephen Fay. I'm also Director of Corporate Partnerships. Like Eugenio said, thank you guys so much for coming out here. Thank you to the entire InsurTech team and Plug and Play for today's event. If you guys need anything, feel free to touch base with any one of us, and we're happy to help. But thanks again for coming.
Also, I'm heading operations in Africa. If anyone has any questions, I'd love to share what we're doing to get everyone involved.
You know, her nickname is Queen of Africa. So thank you so much. Let's have a great couple of days. Please join us this afternoon for the, it's called Enterprise right now? Yeah. Enterprise vertical. Thank you. Welcome, everybody. Thanks.
Thank you, Saeed. Trust me, you're a much tougher act to follow. And thank you, obviously, to the leadership team for coming up there. As they said, if there's anything you guys need to talk about or would like to explore further, just let any of them know or any of the rest of the wider team. I can always point out the right kind of point person if useful. Well, anyway, next up, we've got an incredible fireside chat. Very delighted to welcome to the stage our very own Hutch Moran again, as well joined by Swiss Re's Head of Tech Transformation, Dr. Luca Margaretti.
I have mic already. Good morning.
Good morning. It's good to see you. This is your clicker?
It's my clicker. Yeah.
So good morning, everybody. Again, huge shout out to the team Insight for putting this on, so thank you, everybody, as well as Luca from Swiss Re. Luca and I actually go back quite a while now. I've been in the insurance industry for about 3 years, and I've known Luca for almost exactly 3 years. He's been an incredible mentor to me during that time, and I've learned a lot. Luca truly is a really incredible person. He lives in Switzerland on the weekends, but spends most of his time 35,000 feet in the air, traveling between major cities around the world, and truly meeting and speaking with the brightest minds working on the biggest problems globally. His insights have always been very big picture. He looks at big problems with big ideas, and we're excited to hear some of those today. One thing that I've learned very early on from you was being very particular about how to fire a silver bullet. And so I don't know how you've always managed to do it, but just about anybody in the world you want to get a meeting with, you manage to do so. And the insights that you take from those meetings and share with the world have always been incredible. So this is a continued series from something that we did last year, and very excited to get started. So thank you, Luca.
Oh, thank you for the introduction. It's making my life really easy now to deliver against modest expectations. Maybe one thing, as last year, there will be a video, and we're sharing the slides.
Yes.
And we may even be sharing the script, because it's going to be impossible to cover all the content. So you'll notice on the slides, there are links. Those are links to videos that we have carefully selected over the course of the last literally 2 years. So if you want to, get more insights about, there's a lot of very good materials available on YouTube, but there's also a lot of crap, to be honest. So, and it was a real effort from my team to do that selection. So the videos we're making available are actually pretty good.
So to clarify, all of these slides will be made available to the audience, including the videos. You can follow the links and find quite a bit more. And I've seen the materials. It's quite good. This has put a lot of time and energy into this work, however. So you're very willing to share it. What would that be? Why aren't you not afraid of sharing your IP with the rest of the world?
No, but you know my statement. Those fretting the most about IPs are those without ideas. This place here is about sharing. There's no point in going on stage if you've got nothing to share, or if you're not willing to share, then you better stay home or you sit in the audience. But I think, sharing, exposing yourself, making that knowledge available, I thought is what P&P is all about in these type of events. Even at the risk of saying things that may turn out to be wrong in future, because the problem with the predictions is they're pretty uncertain, famously, especially those about the future.
Absolutely. Well, I'm glad to hear that. I think I'm sure I've made a few wrong predictions along the way, so I'll use that as a nice buffer. Speaking a little bit further on what you did last year. Last year you brought an interesting cover slide that had some context to the conversation.
Yeah.
What have you brought today, and what is the relevancy?
Well, last year it was about how you manage the tech transformation and what are the pitfalls and why it is difficult. And it is difficult for everybody, including yourself. So don't believe anybody going on stage saying, I've got the ultimate truth about how to do it. This is a fight every day and for everybody, at best, is a mixed bag. So that's the, but that was last year. This year is more about what are things that are changing the way we deliver insurance. And I think we're approaching a transformation from, insurance being an understanding and covering risk type of activities to more for prediction and prevention type of affair. And that goes at the cost on a number of things, thanks to technology will become insurable that were not insurable before, but also new risks are going to emerge that we need to cope with. And so I think there's a lot of movement, and that's why I guess you're all here, because everybody senses it, but nobody really knows how to deal with it. So I also, picked a picture of the 1775 tsunami earthquake of Lisbon as an intro. And I did that and choose this title about the badly engineered world. So I think in that context, insurance plays an important role, especially now with climate change starting to become, touchable. You feel it now every day, including those who were flying in yesterday evening and suffering from delays. So, but this picture and this event is a special event because before that happened, and there were some 200,000 people who died. Fukushima, by comparison, was a small catastrophe. Before that, the most intelligent people in the continent thought that we are living in the best possible world. Then, people including Leibniz and what have you. Then this happened, and then Voltaire came around and said, oh, wait a second, it cannot be true. If something like this happened, God has not put us in the best possible world, so we need to do something. And that was in the spirit of the Enlightenment at the time. And, and this event actually boosted some of the activities that actually led to scientific discoveries, engineering, and so on and so forth. But it was this need of dealing with the risk inherent with living in this less than best possible world, if you want.
Absolutely.
So, and that's a bit the spirit of this fire chat now.
I think that makes sense, especially with the change coming as fast as it does. So we talked a little bit about this last year, and today we're kind of continuing the conversation. Yeah. So where would you kind of leave the previous conversation and start this one?
Last year was really about saying, look, technology is changing our business alongside two dimensions. One dimension is what I call the manufacture of insurance, so automation and knowledge work and all this stuff that is basically going to reduce cost and lead to business process redesign. But also technology is affecting the size and nature of risk pools. So some risk pools are structurally shrinking. Motor is such a case. We don't need that quickly because it takes a while before the fleet renews. And then other risks are emerging, such as cyber risk. Everybody, is talking about cyber risk today. Nobody was talking about it 5 years ago. But the bottom line is nobody has a clue how to insure it, how to quantify that risk. So there are new things coming, and I'm going to talk a little bit about it at the end of the presentation, about that particular example. So that was, if you want, the setting last year. And then the other thing, as a recap, the idea was to say, okay, how do we adapt to what is happening or what is being triggered by tech? And I think, you can organize yourself alongside 4 buckets. This framework is anything but perfect. There's lots of overlap. It's not logically perfect, but I think it's practical. So, you can use insurance to increase clients' resilience. You can use tech to improve your value chain. You can develop new responses to risk. And then data is a topic that cuts across everything. You really need to deal with that. So that, if you want, was the framework in a sense.
And so, continuing on from there, we have a couple core examples I think you wanted to share on where those main risks that we were kind of tackling previously look like.
Yeah, the number of risks that, you know, I mean, this is a long list. We can spend the next 3 days generating a list. But let me pick 3 as an example. One is natural catastrophes. A natural catastrophe is actually something that a few decades ago was not insurable. Now it is, to a large extent, insurable. We'll see whether it stays insurable given climate change. You know, every year, you know, the billions of dollars that we're losing actually hurting. Something, you know, needs to be further developed here. Then you've got still faulty human behavior. You know, people have learned not to drink before driving. Now they've learned, however, to do SMSs while driving. So the effect is basically the same in terms of you know, triggering accidents. And then you've got all sorts of terrorism going around. Some of it facilitated by you know, the new media, social media, and the stuff, and also you know, the theater of war has long moved into cyberspace, and and that is creating a number of problems on its own. And we could go on. Some real engineering problems because of the way the world has been built, but also there are some engineering problems because of the externalities of the technology that we create that nobody could foresee the moment those technologies were actually developed.
Of course. So simultaneously, we have a legacy infrastructure problem as the world stands. And on the other side of this, as we're developing solutions, we can't foresee the problems that are going to arise. And that's where innovation really comes in, right? That's where I see insurance playing the largest role, right? Because as this change and as this technology is coming, we are also creating change, therefore risk, which is new insurable opportunities.
Exactly.
So where would you really say, where do you see insurance playing the most active role over the next few years in this process?
No, I think it's this transformation from predicting and preventing, from understanding and covering to predicting and preventing. Why is it so important? It's actually very interesting. Let me take cyber risk as an example. Now, how do you prevent, how do you increase your cyber security? You increase your cyber security by investing in our cyber protection posture. So it can be partly machines, partly software, partly people, but it's a lot of money. So that in a world where for the last 3 decades, IT has been looked at as a horrible cost that needs to be cut. So when you cut costs, you also cut corners. So if you want, systems are probably more vulnerable than they used to be in the past. And now we're asking to upscale without increasing IT budgets. So the question is, how do you decide how much to invest? You can only take the decision if you know what the risk is. Can you quantify the risk if I don't invest? And by how much can you decrease the risk that goes along by improving your cybersecurity? So there is a trade-off decision, and from what all we see is an asymptotic curve. There's a limit to the value of it, but then there's always a residual risk, and the question is, can this residual risk be captured and mitigated by insurance? So those are the type of discussions that are emerging right now, that I see.
And that's a hard space. I heard a quote a while back from a guy, Jeremiah Grossman, who's an interesting cyber expert, who said the only 2 industries that don't offer warranties on their products are cybersecurity and religion. And it was something that I thought was appropriate.
But on religion, Pascal would disagree. That's a famous Pascal wager. And on cybersecurity, we're working on it.
We're working on it. There you go. Yes. So I mean, these really are challenging times, and insurance needs to play a more proactive role. It is changing. It is that opportunity, but it's also happening simultaneously globally. It's also happening amongst lots of distributed parties. So you need to have that kind of, what is that unifying element? Who is got an active interest in this risk globally, like a reinsurer might? And then how do you build that expertise internally to start responding to that?
But let me just step back for 2 minutes, no longer than that.
Sure.
First of all, insurance has always been at the core of all this, and that for a couple of thousand years. So that's what makes it very interesting. Starting with the Codex Hammurabi, which is one of the oldest written documents that actually exist, up to the role that insurance played in the Industrial Revolution, making a number of things possible that were not otherwise would not have been possible. So the other thing that happened, and that was more in the century preceding the famous earthquake of Lisbon, a new math came along. It was probability theory, and that was used, and that emerged in the context of games of chance. So, but then somebody came up with the idea, wait a second, we can apply that to insurance, and then, in a sense, actuarial science and all the rest was actually invested. That could be applied to basically assess, measure the risk on a more sound basis. So then something new happened actually in the last century, but is still going on today, which is the way engineering has developed since. So, and then if you combine, if you want the better understanding of risk with the technical engineering, if you want the physical engineering, then something like risk engineering emerges, which is something that has been, large insurance companies started doing that in the last maybe 3 decades, which basically says, look, we can quantify the risk, we can prevent the risk by improving the security, the fire sensor in your building, and therefore insurance has a different price. So, but that was the combination of all those elements. So that is the change that is coming, and we see more and more actually of that happening.
Absolutely. So just as these transformations came through, we're looking at that next era of infinitely more data sources, more processing capabilities, new risks to identify and model against. So this is kind of the core of where this really transforms into today's world. That's what we're here today to discuss, and how this does relate. But I do think it's really important that we tie back to history. Insurance obviously built on historical data traditionally, and looking back at past losses in order to better identify the future. This is changing quite dramatically with things like cyber, which is ever evolving. And this is also changing quite a bit just as we can start creating new concepts of risk. One thing I would like to better understand a little bit, and I'll give you a chance to go a little bit further, is where you really see this coming to fruition. Where does this become actionable? And we can kind of talk about some examples. But really, how does the past translate to today? And the easy example that always comes to me is the light bulb was a brilliant invention, right? We literally used that logo as an idea. But until insurance companies came in and said, we're only going to insure houses that have these AC/DC standards, did that technology become mass adoptable? It really was the transformation of that risk to make innovation and change mass adoptable. And so I know you wanted to kind of explain another example here of kind of how history reflects the future. And then I think it would be good for us to dig into some of the examples of where this really hits the road today.
I mean, just one word about my hero of the day.
Of course.
I know you don't like my heroes of today, but
I do like your heroes.
And the issue with technology is that the entire discussion and the way things happen is very noisy. It's very difficult to cut through the mud. So, and cutting through the mud, and that's what I particularly like about Plug and Play, is when you do it from the perspective of an industry, of a vertical. If you come from, when people come back from some conferences say, we need to do something about AI. It doesn't mean anything. But if somebody comes back saying, I have a problem in processing whichever forms, and I've seen something where I can be helpful, then it's a different affair. So, and the question is, how do you cut from an insurance perspective through the mud? And I'm going to be very quick about this in terms of understanding this change from understanding and covering to predicting and preventing risk. So, and when you look at it this way, you basically say, you ask the question, what can go wrong? How much will it cost if it goes wrong? How much would you need to invest to prevent that from happening? And is there anything residual risk that still needs to be covered? So, and if you look at this way, probably a number of risk pools will shrink, but new risk pools will emerge of stuff that was not insurable in the past, but will become insurable going forward. So that transformation. So now, how is it going to happen? Is it, people always ask me the question, which technology is going to, or which set of technology is going to trigger that change? And I think what is peculiar is it's not a single technology triggering a change, but it's always the combination of a number of technologies. And I've tried to structure those in that presentation. There's, an entire change around what is called edge computing, which is basically the fact that all the devices that we have in our pockets have got a tremendous computational power. So a lot of computations can be done on your device. That has many consequences. Precision medicine is a huge emerging opportunity for our lives. But again, this is going to change healthcare. We're going to live longer. What does it mean for annuities and pensions? And what does it mean for healthcare costs? Then 3D printing, which was pretty of a hype maybe 5 years ago. It has been a bit quieter as of lately. The reality is there's a lot of stuff happening there, and that will come back and impact insurance alongside many dimensions. Then all the data that is being generated, that creates again an opportunity for some prediction, some machinery that can do meaningful predictions, automation of repetitive work. We actually theoretically know how to do it, but very few are really doing it, meaning the cost of administration stays high. And then finally, the cyber topic, which is, in my view, the hot topic going forward. Absolutely. So that's the overview. Now, is this list complete? I don't know, but that is the best list I could come up with in the last 2 years. But I think it's worth looking at those combinations of technologies from the perspective of insurance and what they can do to the industry.
Absolutely. It's definitely 6 very clear standout topics that we're seeing in the insurance industry. It's also how you slice and dice the technologies. You could fit a lot of different technologies under a given umbrella. But one thing that's also worth noting is how many different industries these correlate to. Yeah. And because insurance covers all industries, we have to be paying attention to the changes in those industries to accurately cover them, which is why I like seeing things on here that you probably wouldn't see or associate with traditional insurance technology. So let's dig into edge computing here a little bit. This is definitely a big opportunity. It's funny, it's Black Friday, everybody's looking at laptops and computers, and although the home PC market has seemed to have flatlined a bit. You're not seeing these dramatic jumps in RAM and hardware and stuff you've seen. The ability to make these processors much smaller, much more energy efficient, much more cheaply has become extremely apparent. And as a result, everything seems to be connected to the internet today, and everything seems to have some sort of AI or processing power. So what does that mean to the insurance industry, and what are the key developments you've seen here?
Well, okay, let me try to, first of all, technology-wise, what you see is a swinging pendulum over decades, okay? So it all started, computers used to be mainframes. So they would fill this room for, I don't know how little processing power.
I think at one point it did.
Okay. So, but then the personal computer came along and put the computing powers in the hands of the end users. So now, more recently, cloud came along, and cloud is basically a mainframe. I mean, it works differently, but is having the computational power centrally. And now all those new devices, the smartphones that became available with more and more power, they actually allow to do a lot of the computation on the edge. And that has a number of consequences. Number one is, people don't have to share the data. So there's consequences for privacy, but also you don't have the latency problem. And latency is a problem for certain applications in the clouds, especially when you think about self-driving vehicles and the like. And you may say, but it is only 5 milliseconds. Well, 5 milliseconds can be critical in a certain situation. So that's the. So then there's another thing which I found fascinating. I was recently visiting a large Japanese conglomerate. And one thing that they do is they look at elderly care. So, and one thing that they actually do is kind of a guardian angel for elderly people, kind of processing all they're doing day in, day out, and then reminding them of doing things they need to do, like taking a pill, going to bed early, whatever. I call that a reverse Tamagotchi, if you want. But that is only possible because of all the sensor you have in the home and the device that can process the stuff real time with all the data staying on site, without infringing the privacy of those people. So those are all examples of things that now are increasingly happening on the edge and that allow to do it in a contextual manner. So that's the first combination of technologies that I see having an impact, because then those people get less sick, or they live longer, or whatever, or you have less car accidents, all because of that incredible ability to compute the stuff real time in a given context and situation.
Absolutely. You can imagine a world where a highly IoT-centered building could buy its own insurance and underwrite itself as the environment changes. We're even seeing edge power, as power grids are moving to the edge as well and becoming more locally created and organized. So edge computing, definitely a clear standout. And we've seen a lot of examples of this in the insurance industry. Moving on to precision medicine, and this really jumps into the healthcare side. We know the healthcare costs are significant. Some say, say 20 to 30% of American GDP, depending on different ones you want to look at. Some say as high as 30% of that is waste. Where is precision medicine going to be really powerful here, and what kind of cost reducer can that play?
Well, cost reduction is always, to me, is a mystery, not only to me, but to many, where healthcare costs in the US are so much higher than, let's say, in Switzerland.
We might need some more time for that
Despite the fact that you get a pretty shitty service compared with what I'm used to. But let's leave aside for a second the way you manage the healthcare system and how you can reduce cost. I think that goes beyond. It's more than a problem of technology. It's a problem of how you manage markets. Precision medicine itself is, in a sense, is the combination of three things in turn. One is data and data analytics. So we have a wealth of data, and that was the big discovery of Russ Altman in Stanford. We said, wait a second, we have all those data where we know the side effects of drugs that were tested in the FDA process but didn't pass the exam. Why? Because it was less than 30% efficacy or was killing more than 10 people in a million, or whatever the benchmarks are. But then we discovered, hey, wait a second, but not all side effects were bad. In some cases, the side effects were good. I mean, the most famous example for good side effects is Viagra. But it could be that a particular drug for a particular type of cancer, given your genome and given my genome, cures your cancer and kills me on the spot. So if we only knew which one are those that are compatible with which genome or which phenotype, and, whatever the measures are, that would be a great progress in being able to cure patients. So, and that is coming. I mean, a lot of investment is going in this direction, and new drugs and new applications are being developed, new indications and the like. The other thing is, in this context, is nanotechnology, which is the ability to kind of create micro devices that go into your body and go exactly where your disease actually is and delivers the drug there with a totally different dosage that is much better for the patients than if you just inject a high amount in the blood circulation. And there's a lot going on in Israel in that space where the engineers and doctors are teaming up to develop those devices. So, and all this is coming. It's not like it's going to come in 10 years from now. It's around the corner.
Oh yeah, stick around for the health vertical. But I think it's a really true statement. The way I always look at it was we currently treat the body the way we flavor a stew. And you're going to add some garlic and everything's going to be now flavored like garlic when you might just want to garlic the mashed potato or the potatoes. And we're always going to have that effect until we can start figuring out how to make that specific, because we do a lot of catastrophe, a lot of damage in the process in these things. All right, so moving forward, precision medicine clearly is going to be a winner here in the future, and we've made quite a bit of movement on our health program in that space. 3D printing is also a huge theme across the insurance space, but also more heavily in our construction verticals, our manufacturing verticals. As the materials are getting better, like metal and others, are starting to see car frames developed with these. Where have you seen some interesting movement as it relates to the insurance?
Well, the most impressive bit in 3D print is actually the 3D printing of organs. Today, we all have a problem. If we need an organ transplant, we may not survive that waiting period. So now, for the first set of organs, those things can be done in terms of creating your own organ using stem cells. That is pretty impressive stuff. It's actually much better because it doesn't affect your immune system the way a regular transplant would do. And is actually more reliable, cheaper, and so on. So that is the one bit I expect to come along fairly quickly. Again, I encourage you to watch all those videos because you get a real feel for how close it is. The second thing is you can shape or you can create shapes with 3D printing that can increase the safety of anything, from cars to bridges, to aero engines in the aviation industry. That may lead to, if you want, a decreased frequency and severity of accident. And you could also think of maybe becoming able to optimize your inventory in terms of the number of parts that you need to store in a given garage shop to repair a car. That may be massive. And again, that would affect, I think, in big ways, car insurance as the one example.
Yeah, I mean, aerospace is the clear runaway where you're being able to manufacture parts and things in a vacuum environment.
Yeah.
But you could also see things like hospitals in remote areas who need to build things to
Yeah.
create casts and stuff. You know, really being able to transform accessibility to medicine and tools. All right, we got about 6 minutes left. I want to make sure we cover some of these other
Yeah.
topics. Sensor, data, AI. This is going to be a big topic, so I'll let you just run with it.
No, I mean, the fascinating thing is that you basically now have sensors everywhere. And sensors, and by the way, cameras as well. So, and I see more and more companies now coming up with the idea of making use of those data to help the insurance industry. And actually, I saw that the first time it became clear to me was maybe 4 or 5 years ago. I met a company called Climacell. And that company was just a startup. They just started in Boston. And it was 3 people originally from the Israeli army and the chief data scientist of Israel at the time. And they had an idea which was, can we use measurements of microwaves between antennas to understand what is happening in between, whether it's rainy, foggy, and whatever. And they figure out how to do it.
Based on the interference.
Exactly. So, but that was enabling, to generate data around measuring rainfall in a reliable way, real time, on a very sectorial, so by neighborhood, if you want, which was not possible before. So that for me is an impressive example, because then they were not implanting new sensors. They were, in a sense, misusing sensors already available, in this case, telecom antennas, to generate those data. And I think that we'll see more and more, that the ability to harness those data will enable us to become much more accurate in terms of understanding what has happened or what is about to happen as we see a storm approaching. So that is, in a nutshell,
Absolutely.
the story here.
And it affects the whole value chain. If you know there's hail within 2 blocks, you know there's fraud. If it's 6 blocks away, someone wants a new roof. Interesting. All right, the automation of repetitive work. This has been a big space for us, especially with the enterprise batch right around the corner. We had an interesting company that invested in Nightscope, the autonomous robotic security company. And they were renting out a lot of office equipment, particularly fax machines and things like that. And although they were kind of clever enough to invest in robotic security, I like to say if it wasn't for the insurance industry, they would have no business in the fax machine industry.
But I think maybe looking at the time, I think this is the most obvious of them all.
Okay.
But, it's start doing it. And, it hurts. Yeah, it hurts because it's about doing business process redesign. And, people will have to do other things. That's what it boils down to. So that's...
Yeah, this is a dense topic for a whole other conversation.
Let's move to something more juicy, which is cyber, for which I developed actually a special passion. And I must say, it's actually very interesting. Whenever I cross the US or the Chinese border, I'm always afraid they would arrest me.
Regardless of which country you're in?
Yeah. The reason is that through the various connections we were able to build, one person I was able to meet a couple of times, under 4 eyes, was nobody but General Keith Alexander, who was for 10 years the director of the NSA at the time when they did the Iranian attacks and so on. And there's a very interesting view on, how the theater of war is actually moving to machine, and how people struggle to realize that, and how that may represent actually a real national security. The moment malevolent attacks are performed on infrastructural things such as the power grid. But also, if you then think through it, then you discover that it's not just malevolent attacks. It's the legacy system problem. We have everything is basically being managed through some form of computation. Some of those machines are 30, 40, 50 years old. They're in a state of permanent decay. And you may remember a few years ago, 2 years ago, there was a glitch in a legacy system of Delta Airlines. Delta was grounded for 3 days. It took them 3 days to find it out. That was a huge damage.
And that was a glitch, not malicious.
It was not malicious. It was something went wrong. I mean, the more world is moving to machines. Machines are vulnerable. Sometimes it's malicious. Sometimes it's something else. But from the perspective of damage, it doesn't really matter. And then there's a further element which is what I call algorithmic risk. We're allowing machines, or we're kind of delegating decision powers to machines based on self-optimizing algorithms. Now, normally everything goes well, but from time to time something goes wrong. And we don't have a proper understanding of it. So that's it. And the third pillar is what we call algorithmic risk or algorithmic malpractice. And then you go to academia and they basically tell you, this is a real problem because the moment we have different operating systems interoperating with each other, we don't really understand what happens. So, and that is increasingly seen a risk. And then obviously you have the usual stuff like, the cleaning lady doing her job as best as she can, but then ending up plugging the mainframe, the plug from the mainframe, or
somebody spills coffee on the computer, just human error.
Those things actually happen.
Absolutely.
But I'm still missing a proper definition, a proper understanding, a proper sectioning of cyber risk in a wider sense.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't care less whether a cyber damage occurs because of malevolent attacks or because of something else. But I think it's much more than just malevolent attacks. And there's a debate going on this. And it's actually interesting, and I'll come to the other side of the firewall. The other guy I was able to meet a couple of times is Professor Funk. Professor Funk is the guy who built the Great Firewall. And he's kind of the Caesar of the People's Republic of China. So, and they think they are in different terms than we do in the West. They say, look, this is a civil problem of first order, and if we don't manage to significantly increase the cyber stability, let me call it that way, as opposed to just security of the industry, then economic damage may occur, and we need to prevent that somehow.
It's truly a borderless problem, something that everybody's facing. And as a reinsurer whose business is quite borderless, I guess it's something that you guys have to face on quite a grand scale. I think
anyway, we're deep red.
I think we're a bit far out, I know, but I guess this is the last slide. But would you like to summarize the last slide before we?
Just that it's very simple. We know all those things. I mean, I've been here around at Plug and Play and in the insurance industry for a number of years. We tend to, we have a much better understanding of how technology is affecting us in positive as much as negative ways. But we now know all this. Is time to get going. So stop talking, get going. That is basically.
So we've been, most of the people in this room has been through observation. We're running the experimentations, but it's real time for scaling and value creation.
Yeah. That
Absolutely.
would be.
All right, well, thank you very much. Can we get a round of applause for Luca? And I think we have a break now. Wonderful.
Thank you, Hutch. Thank you, Luca. I think many of you would agree that it's a bit of the curse of the event format that was kind of cut off there. I look forward to hopefully many more in this kind of series of events. So thank you very much for that. Okay, we're coming to the kind of close of this kind of content area now. Now looking to introduce some of the startups to the stage. So we're going to have 13 startup pitches covering life, health, and general now until the break. So without further ado, I would love to start with Jerry from CarePredict.
Thank you, everybody at Plug and Play, for the opportunity to participate in this program. It's been incredibly valuable to the growth of our corporation, and in three particular ways. One, since we've been working in this program, we've now closed a deal for 12,000 units, products and services, which I'm very excited about, and our board's very happy with me. The second thing is in Japan, actually, we've really strengthened our relationships with Sampo, and that's been really a big factor, has been being in these rooms and really cultivating that relationship with Sampo, and we're really excited about a paid pilot in 2020. We're getting started in the first quarter. And then finally, we got selected actually as Digital Health 150 in the CB Insights this year, top 150 digital health. So that was a big milestone for us, and it's been incredibly exciting time. And finally, in Japan, we are actually now a member of the Plug and Play Japan. So we're excited to continue growing there in Japan. Given the last presentation, I don't need to go into this too much, but we're seeing a tremendous transition from the one-time insurance-based model where you'd collect data, some static data, and create some policy risk based on that assessment. Now we're in the continuous mode, where we're collecting data, using sensors to collect that data, and predicting and preventing. The problem is the data, most of it is commodity data or not particularly useful. For instance, step rates or even heart rate can only give you a piece of the piece of information about that individual. In order to truly move to the next phase of predicting and preventing rather than detecting and treating, you need a more specialized device for data collection. And that's actually what we've developed at CarePredict is one, a specialized wearable device that measures the kinematics of the senior's wrist. So it allows us to do really accurate, personalized recognition of their activities. So eating, drinking, bathing, automatically. So now we can actually get a baseline, a personalized baseline for that senior, use that data and make predictions and then potentially prevent health declines that would normally occur. We're using this currently in the home with home care agencies and also in senior living communities in the United States to predict when a senior is at an elevated risk for a fall, when they're at elevated risk for a UTI, or even showing signs of cognitive impairment. I'm going to just go to the last slide, which is the results that we've seen. This is our newest product out, the version 3, which has SpO2 monitoring, two-way voice communication, and our app on Android and Apple, iOS. And these are the results we've seen, and they're going to kick me off the stage here. But over a 2-year period, we lowered the hospitalization rate for seniors in group living communities by 21%. We had a reduction of 37% for fall rates, increased the average, or the geometric average length of stay by 91% over a 2-year period. And we also, the communities we worked with increased their occupancy by using this as a competitive differentiator. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Jerry. Before the next startup comes on, I just want to quickly clarify a few pieces of logistics. Firstly, the event app is on LineUpper. You can see most of the details on this on your name badges, on the back of those name badges. So if you can also get that at the link of bit.ly/Winter Summit brochure. We're also, as usual, using our networking app Brella. Again, Winter Summit 19. So actually, we won't be able, due to the pure mass startups we have, to do Q&A from here. So any questions you're looking to get from those startups, And whether you think you're a relevant partner or maybe not, you have some feedback for them, advice, maybe connections, please do use Brella. And of course, the informal networking that we're having throughout the day to find these people, help them out, and hopefully connect and do more. We will also be voting for the best startup of the day. So that will be a little bit later after we've heard all the pitches. So please do feel free to take notes on the booklets we've given out if there's anything you would like to kind of keep in mind for that voting a bit later. And I guess with that, I would love to introduce the next startup, which is Brian from Traffic.
Wow, 3 minutes to compress 4 years of work that we've got. So we'll start with who are we? We are a team of insurance backgrounded and finance backgrounded professionals with about 150 years of experience, focused on using data science to solve the insurance equation. Insurance is pretty simple business if you take the investment piece out of it. All of our tools and all of our data science and efforts have been around helping carriers do the following. Better price your means. If you look at the normal distribution here, better price your means you get better results. Avoidance of tail risk. Avoiding big opportunities using big data. We help carriers do that as well. Thirdly, squeezing operational efficiencies out of the system. We have tools that help carriers achieve that as well. Core competencies. They are linear. One, we have a curated database of over 4,000 public and private data points that most insurance carriers don't have and don't know how to use. Predictive analysis, this is the plus. In addition to the curated database, we use predictive analysis that helps carriers understand risk and also has an application towards client acquisition. And third, we have a suite of digital engagement and distribution tools that for direct-to-consumer efforts will be very helpful. Curated data types, there are 5, I won't read it to you, but they come from these 5 buckets generally. There are many, many more buckets, and we are improving that number daily. Our approach is data pixelization. So where insurance carriers have been looking at limited data, current classical model over there on the right, or your left, we take that black and white model we call black and white TV, and we pixelize it and change it to 5K. So where carriers have been used to using forensic data in order to evaluate current risk, we take real-time behavioral data from our sources and augment those profiles. So literally, we can create better heat maps. These better heat maps, in a nutshell, can lead to bottom line increases of about 30–40% in workflows. Our results, which we stand on importantly, we have better mortality models, period. We know that through all of our work with carriers, 5 to 10% better than industry models. We can reduce and optimize marketing spend by 15% or more. This is a very conservative estimate. We've seen with our work with carriers, much greater. And this leads to 30% increases in line of business profit, period. How do we do that? We prioritize through 3 ways. One, through smart leads, better profiles of individuals that carriers can use for marketing and distribution, the better mortality models that I just talked about, and thirdly, the data appends. So we have, if carriers are here for life insurance, are tired of spending $250 for fluided analysis, you can come to me and pay me $25 for a data pen. I'll build you a better profile that gets you the same result or better risk profiling of life insurance people without having the blood analysis, et cetera. Shortly, financial highlights for those investors in the room. We are seeking capital. We are closely held. Most of the stock is held by company founders and C-suite. We've never taken institutional money. We've been bootstrapped and angel financed. Our growth rate in 2019, 500%. This year of contracted revenue, if we did nothing else but just executed on the 4 carrier contracts we signed in the fourth quarter, we get 250% growth next year. That number changed in the past day from 3 to 4. So we're getting good traction. And our average margin is 90%. Thank you for your time. Look forward to speaking with you.
Thank you, Brian. Next up, we have Nabi from Cover Hero.
Good morning, everyone. Imagine if we could create insurance industry today with all the resources and technology that we have, what would we create? The problems that we want to solve in our society is financial exclusion, income gap, anxiety, depression. This is the biggest crisis that we're facing today for our generation. So as a social scientist studying human behavior for the last 20 years, we've come up with a way of preventing these issues and creating a better world. Our philosophy is to cover millennials and Gen Z, create a better well-being for them by creating holistic life and health insurance products. We have identified various different things that people are going to need across their life from birth to about 40 years. And what we're going to do is use this proprietary technology that we've created across multi-line and well-being insurance across term life, accident and health, and we use this balance wheel to create and predict what people are going to need at different critical moments. Last week, we launched our platform partnering with TEDx. We know how to build community. We brought together engineers, designers, and hustlers to create this product. When we launched, 200 people got onto our platform, used the platform, which was very exciting. And we have some of these t-shirts available if you want one of those. And today we are live with Hustle Cover, which is gig economy workers' income protection. Check it out. Go to hustlecover.com. We've gained global partnerships. We've got distribution partnerships in Australia, and we are looking to launch our product range in US in Q2 of 2020. And this is all powered by our proprietary technology Cloud Cover platform, which is end-to-end solution from underwriting to distribution and claims handling capacity. We also have the ability to connect real world and also the digital world by creating community. We're a community-first platform, and we want to create financial literacy for our customer base. We've gathered a team of engineers, data scientists, and insurance experts to create these products and change our generation and millennials and Gen Zs. We create products that are meaningful and valuable that can fluidly move as we move and grow older rather than having to create products that are static and does not change. We're a global company. Since we've been part of this program, it has been incredible, and we've gained a lot of traction in the last 3 months. We're a technology company focused on building community and improving people's lives. Thank you.
Thank you, Nabi. And now, could you please welcome to the stage Ariel from Lazarus.
Take a look at the people around you. 1 in 4 of us is going to die from cancer. Why? Misdiagnosis. Half of all cancer cases are caught late because of misdiagnosis, and it's not your doctor's fault. This is everything they have to think about when they screen you. This is everything leading up to that screening. This is every other cancer screening, and this is a fraction of every decision they have to make the moment you walk through the door. Can you spot the problem? It's right here. This is what will kill you, and that's exactly how much time they have to make that decision. So of course they're overwhelmed. And of course they'll make mistakes, but because of that, 1 person dies every 4 seconds unnecessarily. So how do we go about solving it? Well, we're Lazarus and we catch cancer early. Big claim to make, right? But how? Simple. We have a platform for physicians to screen their patients using something as simple as their smartphone with no extra attachments for things like skin cancer, and then for cervical cancer, ovarian, and various other ones. In fact, we outperform everything in the industry, every other model in the industry, and for the first clinical trial of its kind, we pitted physicians against AI, 157 dermatologists, and we outperformed them in all the core focus areas, specifically melanoma and basal cell carcinoma. Same thing for cervical cancer against 40 gynecologists. We're currently tackling these 2 that we've clinically proven out, and we're trying to clinically prove out the rest now. We've tested over 115,000 patients and caught over 1,000 cases. We've collected over 3,000 terabytes of data, and our team is dedicated towards solving this huge problem. Why? Well, 9.6 million people are going to die this year because of cancer. If we can get this to everybody, and if we can get everybody tested, We can reduce that number to less than 500,000 people just by catching it early. No new breakthroughs. So why am I talking about this on stage at an InsurTech event? Doesn't seem super relevant because we sell straight to physicians. Well, I'm proud to announce that in Q1 of 2020, we're launching Lazarus Connect. We have access to over 95% of health records in the US due to our collaborations with Epic, Cerner, Allscripts, Athena, and all the major EHRs. So thousands of health systems. We're streamlining access to these EHR records for everybody from one single source API, and the best part is it's 100% free. We get a synthetic copy of our records, of the records that we can use to train the model. You get a health record in an electronic format that you can run your own tests on to accelerate your claims, accelerate your underwriting, and best of all, improve user experience for all of your insured population. And best part is, you get to feel good knowing that we're using these records as well to build models to save lives. I'm Ariel, we're Lazarus, we're backed by these wonderful people, and we want you to help us build the future of healthcare.
Thank you, Ariel. Next up, we have Christian from Meru Health.
Thanks a lot. Hi, I'm Christian, a CEO and founder of Meru Health. Thanks so much for having me today. So we are the new standard of mental health care, and mental health care obviously is one of the biggest problems we're facing in the healthcare sector today. And also from an insurance company perspective, disability costs are on the rise, unfortunately, and depression is, if not number one, it's in top 3 causes for disability today in the US. So unfortunately a huge issue, but again, there are good solutions. So a bit more about the obstacles. So stigma and barriers. So providing quick and discreet access for people is something which just doesn't happen today, unfortunately. A lot of people, more than 50%, just don't get the access for some of these reasons. And then effectiveness of treatment is another big problem. If we get people in, then only half will get better. So depression, anxiety seem like something we could treat as a society today, but unfortunately we're not really good at that. So those are some of the challenges. But then, okay, so what's happening? So with Meru Health, we are a tech-enabled telehealth practice with licensed clinicians on staff, remotely working with patients using a digital app, basically a mobile solution. So this is one of our example cases here. Someone who was a tech employee on disability, had tried other treatments, like psychotherapy, counseling, and so on, and didn't get better, was still on disability. We kind of started working with her in 10 weeks into our treatment. She was back at work and 95% reduction in depression. We've also recently won the UCSF Digital Health Awards. They screened more than 500 companies. They had 250 judges in their panel, and we won the Best Mental Health Company award. So we're excited about all this traction that's kind of happening these days. So about the product, it's an app-based program. You can use them at your own pace. Different components. A licensed therapist that's working with everyone, so everyone gets a dedicated clinician that they work with. There's also support from an anonymous peer group, as well as we integrate with physician practices, work with Stanford Healthcare, work with Sutter Health, and so on. Also have psychiatrists on staff if there's any need for escalation of care. We've done a bunch of research, shown that this actually works, published with UC Davis, have papers with Harvard and with Stanford currently in peer review. So some of our pipeline, exciting stuff coming up there. Some of our partners that we work with, so large employers, health plans, and some universities here. Yeah, so kind of patient stories, experiences from people are things that at least for the team internally are very important. In addition to just kind of looking at the clinical data and the evidence. So this is as one example here. That's me today. Thanks so much, and really look forward to chatting with you folks more today. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Christian. Next up, we have Lonnie from Pops Diabetes Care.
demand for healthcare is changing. People, not patients, want to consume healthcare like they consume any other experience. I'm Lonnie Starmo, and I'm CEO of POPS, and POPS has created a chronic care management platform to enable people to real-time manage their condition and own their condition, own their life. And we need to do this because 60% of us, all the people sitting here, have some type of chronic condition that we're living with, consuming 75% of our healthcare costs. And we launched our first product this year after getting FDA approval in the diabetes space, the largest of these healthcare chronic conditions. So I, as a person with diabetes, am one of the people living with a chronic condition and know that I need to manage my condition real-time 24/7, making sure my blood sugar doesn't go too high or too low, and I'm basically on my own to do that. So what we're doing with POPS is giving you the POPS Rebel platform. It's based around Mina, your AI-driven personal virtual coach, who's with you 24/7 to help you manage your condition. Mina can be surrounded by any type of simple sensors, but we're keeping these sensors very consumer-oriented, including the product in the diabetes space that is now the simplest way to measure blood sugar that's on the market without wearing any device. I want to show you a video. The first part of the video is the traditional diabetes test kit that you probably have seen. And then we move into the POPS system. You see the person get their blood sugar measurement without moving, and then you see Mina throughout. So unlike the other digital solutions that are out there in this healthcare space or diabetes space, we're unique, very unique in the way that we have Mina, your personal virtual coach, no live coaches remotely managing you through telehealth. And you saw how different our device to measure blood sugar is versus all the traditional kits. Like for me, that type of kit was always sitting back in my bathroom, not with me managing my diabetes. So from a results perspective, we've shown that when you give people this, they get a 1-point drop in A1C, which can save our clients, self-insured employers, over $2,000 annually. And more importantly, these clients are loving the solution that we brought to them this year. And most importantly, the end people using the system are loving it too, with an 80% net promoter score. So we have a view of healthcare changing, and if you share that view, we're looking for plans, providers, brokers, who want to enable their participants to own their condition and own their life. Thanks.
Thanks, Lonnie. Next up, we're going to have Alex from Dakadu.
Good morning. I'm Alex Rice from Dakadu. I head up sales and marketing for Dakadu North America. Thank you to Plug and Play for organizing this fantastic event and group of people. I'll give you a quick overview on Dakadu. We are a Swiss-based company. We've been around since 2010. We are growing rapidly. We now have over 100 people globally. We've been awarded 20 awards in the last few years, including being named one of the top 100 digital innovators in Europe by the Financial Times and Google. We have over 90 patents submitted and 25 granted, so we're very much a company rooted in science and academia. To give you an overview of our product offering, one of the main offerings we have is our health risk quantification, or what we also call the risk engine. So we have our own proprietary risk models based on 300 million person years of clinical data that provides true all-cause mortality and morbidity prediction, so things like diabetes risk, hypertension, et cetera. On the engagement side, we provide the Dakadu Health Engagement Platform. So we generally provide this as a white label solution to our enterprise customers. We also can make components of our technology, like our health score, our digital AI coach, and our device integrations available to partners that either have their own technology or are building apps and want to integrate those components, and we have Dactydo Go as our entry walking game. With most of our enterprise customers, we provide the full Dactydo engagement platform. So for companies like Optum, Aon, and Irish Life, I think Aon and Irish Life are here today, they use our platform. So they'll have Optum My Wellbeing, Aon Well One, or Irish My Life in the App Store. So they have their own branded apps that are built upon Dactydo. We're the flexible technology platform that enables them to engage with their members, their employees, and have a digital relationship with them. For the end user, they get their health score, like a credit score for your health, a real-time number that changes. And then on the back end, the organization can get the analytics under the hood to better identify their populations, to triage them into other programs, or do new and innovative underwriting. So what is the health score? It's a real-time number from 1 to 1,000. I did spend about half an hour talking about the science underneath it, so I'll be brief. It's based on more than 300 million person-years of clinical data. It's one number that is based on 3 main subcomponents: lifestyle, body, and mind. We can work with as little as 4 data points, but can track up to 100 different data points. To do a little more into the science underneath it, we took over 500 clinical research studies that comprises that 300 million person-years of data. We can impute the missing data value. So for life insurers that are trying to do things around accelerated underwriting, that can be very helpful. As I mentioned, we made components of our platform available for people that are building their own apps. And to touch on our existing clients, currently, as I mentioned, we work with Aon, Optum. We provide the digital front end to Oracle, and work with some large health plans and insurers globally. And I would love to talk with anyone here. I'm here all day, today and tomorrow. Thank you.
Thanks, Alex. And our last life and health startup now is Hans from Centro.
Morning, everybody. I'm here to talk to you about group insurance and group benefits. You're not too many people that are active in the group insurance space. Centro, we are all about group insurance and group benefits. Lots has happened since the last time we saw you for our business. Just a reminder about where we're from. We're down here in the corner. We're from Auckland, New Zealand, and we're very proud of it. I migrated there 23 years ago from Toronto. My colleague, Rob Ellis, if you want to hear a real New Zealand accent, go and talk to Rob. And we started our business, Central Proposition, in January of this year. And in August 2019, our life was starting to look pretty interesting. We've got a couple of customers in New Zealand, one in the UK. We're developing some leads in Canada. We're feeling pretty good about ourselves. And then on the 23rd of August, we came to Plug and Play here in Sunnyvale. We pitched Centro to many of you, and I also talked to you about curling. And I've only got 3 minutes, so I won't talk much about curling this morning, but I'm happy to talk about it later if you'd like to. So what does our life look like now in December 2019? Well, we've got triple the amount of leads that we had 3 months ago. It's about 10 times the associated potential annual revenue. So needless to say, we are big fans of Plug and Play at Centro. It's been terrific for us, and we've loved the experience. And why is that group growth happening? Well, group insurance, if it's an underloved segment. It's lower margin business. It's been underinvested in, but it's got huge upside. Your corporates want it. Your business customers want it. You can build better relationships with individuals. There's big upside, but only if you use the right tools. For Centro, we believe that the solution is to connect the entire group ecosystem. We give the insurer tools to enable all of the components of their value chain because it is a team sport delivering group insurance to corporates. But you need to put the employees, the insured, at the center of the experience for it to work well. So the way that we do it, we give the insurer the Centro Hub product, a core policy administration, billing, claims lodgement solution. It's modular. Our customers can use as much or as little of the solution as they need. And then with Centro Connect, the insurer can enable their selling partners, their brokers, and increasingly and importantly, their non-insurance service providers to help them be more effective delivering the solutions to the customers. Centro Engage portals allow the employers and the employees to consume the products and engage with them and build an understanding like never before. You can tell your brand story with Centro. You can white label it. It's secure and scalable. We're partnered with Microsoft Azure. We can integrate with your existing systems. We're modular. You can use as much as little as you need. We've got a shared success business philosophy, easy to start and grow together for success. Delta Insurance in New Zealand have launched a personal group cyber risk product on our platform. We stood that up for them in a 4-month period. We'd be happy to demonstrate that for you later. Where to next for us? International expansion, and we will be raising Series A in 2020. We'd be happy to speak with insurers, investors, and anybody that wants to really understand how to grow their group insurance business with Centro. Thank you.
Thank you, Hans. Now we're going to move on to our 5 general startups. So we have 5 startups left, and then we're going to take a break. So next, I'd like to welcome to the stage Yuval from Digital Owl.
Hi, thank you. My name is Yuval, and I'm the co-founder and CEO of Digital Owl. We are an Israeli company, so apologize for the accent. And we develop an AI system for underwriters and claim adjuster, primarily in health-related policies like disability, workers' comp, health, and etc. Now, in order to assess the risk, underwriters need to review hundreds of medical documents. And in order to settle a claim or reject a claim adjuster need to review hundreds of medical documents. And this is a time-consuming and an error-prone process, believe me. So we develop a system that can read and understand any medical document. The system extracts all medical data points for the work of underwriting and for the work of claim adjustment. Now, in order to do it and to deal with the complex unstructured medical text, we develop our own natural language processing engine. And I want to show you why. So here an example of a doctor note, right? And for a human to understand everything is really simple, but for the machine, you want to answer a few questions, like on what date the fracture was diagnosed. Is it the visit date? No, because this is a 3-month-old shoulder fracture. And on what date the patient complained about pain? What is the current date? The latest date? But the latest date is the printing date. Or maybe what body part is experiencing pain? We need to understand that the pain is related to shoulder, the fracture, right? And is the tendon rupture or the diagnosis was ruled out? Or so all those questions, for a human, it's really easy. But for the machine, you need to understand the text and not only look for keywords. Now, yeah, an Israeli guy can pronounce this disease, I'm sorry. Now, the deep understanding of the medical record allows us a full and in-depth data point, medical data point, that can now be leveraged for a better underwriting and a better claim adjustment. Now, I know that everybody is saying AI today, right? Now, AI is like sex in high school. Everybody is talking about it. No one really do it. Yeah, we do it. We do it good. The AI part, right? And this is how it looks. This is the machine coloring the medical data point and linking them. We can understand the relevant date. We can understand the body part which related to diagnosis. The system can understand everything. Have you seen the Terminator movie? This is how it began. Now, this is how the users see it. You can see pre-existing condition. You can see the entire timeline of a patient. Guys, we are already saving a lot of money for our client in Israel, finding pre-existing condition, analyzing medical cases. We are doing it. And we are the only one doing it today. Now, this entire industry is based on statistic and data. Why use only a small portion of data when you can have it all? We are Digital Owl. I'm here today and tomorrow. I can show you a live demo. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Yuval. To keep this rolling, we'll now bring on the stage Mark from Message Control.
Hey everyone, we're Mark Reisman, the CEO of Message Control, and we're going to talk about cyber risk. We're going to talk about human layer email security. So right out of the gate, we're not replacing existing tools, we're adding a new layer to protect human beings. So 95% of successful cyber attacks start in email because humans are, like all of us, easily distracted, naive, gullible, and tricked. And the sophistication of the attacks is getting better by, seems like the day, the week, the month. So what are we doing about the fact that our humans are being faced with constant risky emails that are leading to massive problems in our organizations? Well, we're counting on human judgment and we're trying to fortify it. So the two major ways we see are external warning messages on inbound emails, and all of us, myself included, are turning to trying to make employees human phishing detectors, right? With cybersecurity training and simulated phishing. So how effective are our current solutions? Spoiler alert, not very. 95% of successful attacks are starting in email. Humans are the gullible, weak link. So what are we really asking them to do? Well, because the emails that are tricking our humans to giving up our security and our data are typically playing on identity. They're pretending to be a company you think you know or a person you think you know in order to get you or one of your human beings to do something silly. So what we're asking humans to do is to get to the heart of identity, which means remember every single sending domain they're talked to. Is it plugandplaytechcenter.com.io.ca? Is it Bob Smith, B.Smith, Bob_Smith? It's an impossible ask. We're asking people to do literally 100+ times a day. And while they're getting to the heart of identity, don't fall for R next to N looks like M, but it does. Can you see the difference between a Cyrillic O and a regular O? Because I can't. No wonder we're setting up human beings to be tricked, and tricked they are being. So message control, we're going to talk about one of our products today called Codebreaker. So remember the external warning message. I'm going to call that dumb and that it's not dynamic. What we do is a smart version of the external warning message. In essence, we're doing that impossible task you're asking your users to do with their cybersecurity training. We're doing it for them and inserting the risk analysis into their eval. So we're doing it in real time. It's a knowledge graph. For those of you tech-oriented, we're inline, no MX record change. We work on all devices natively, including the native Apple email client. So you install this once and it works everywhere. So here's what it actually looks like. So here's an impersonation attack. Alex Andrews, real or fake, same external warning message. First time you talk to him, 50th time, same again, dumb external warning message. What we're doing in a fraction of a second before this email hits your end user, and only if it's got past your gateway, we're doing that impossible analysis, but it's not impossible when you have machine learning. So what we're doing is we're assessing what is the hidden risk inside the email and planting it directly into the email in place of a dumb external warning message. So here's an identity trick. This is a name, similar domain as another company. The context is this is their first email to your company. We're still counting on human beings to adjudicate risk. But instead of asking them to do this impossible research 100 times a day, we do it for them. We insert it into the email if and only if there is indeed risk. So a zero-day credential harvesting, really Microsoft, fake Microsoft, same external warning, we'll put the contextual clues. It's a brand new domain. This is their first email to your company. So we go through a POC. For 2 weeks, we'll be in a learning mode looking at send and receive patterns. And then at the end of that, we're putting warnings typically on 10 or 20% of emails, very specific to the contextual nature of the email. It's fast, it's easy, it's high impact. And we're doing POCs with multiple insurance carriers as a result of Plug and Play. We already have customers, 2 of the 3 largest law firms in the country, dozens of other firms, public utilities, publicly listed companies, et cetera. We can do better for our human beings than setting them up for failure. And this is the failure within the cyber stack, all of us sitting here with our devices, that creates massive havoc. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. I would now like to bring up to the stage Richard from Sourcero.
Hello, everyone. I'm Richard Graves. I'm the interim CEO of Sourcero. And I want to introduce you to a really important concept, which is the AI native enterprise is the future. We know the insurance industry is going under a transformation as new entrants and traditional players are building new technology. But the biggest problem that people are facing is that 90% of the data at any enterprise is unsuitable for traditional AI, whether it's dark data or natural language. Often that data either needs to be cleaned, gone through governance, or frankly, traditional AI tools won't really work on technical language in the first place anyway, which is the bread and butter of the insurance industry. We launched in life sciences, and Plug and Play has been very good to us. It's brought us into the insurance vertical. In the last couple of months, we've had conversations and started engaging with nearly 58 companies in this space. And we wanted to bring the innovation, which is the idea that enterprises can unlock AI across enterprise using natural language processing. the domain of AI that focuses on language. So what we've built is the Enterprise NLP Suite. What that is, it's a no-code platform, so that business units and business leaders themselves can design solutions. It's transparent and auditable, so that even your regulated functions can be run on this, and it's a platform so that you can build and run it yourself rather than rely on just software. This is actually what it looks like. What we've actually built is these tools that you can drag and bring down into solutions that actually can be used to solve, frankly, hundreds of enterprise functions. I'm going to focus on 3 just for a second to give you a sense of how NLP can unlock value within your enterprise. First example, we actually found that in the California wildfires, one of the huge challenges was, frankly, there wasn't the infrastructure to handle nearly over 46,000 claims of 11 billion, and that led to a huge human toll. But it also led to an enormous backlog that led to brand damage and possibly industry-wide impacts. One of the things you can use an NLP platform to do is to actually drag down these tools, build a solution that can take in claims from email, attachments, documents that you wouldn't think could work with your systems, and instead match it to the customer, the adjuster, and actually take the data extracted instantly instead of in days or weeks. The same thing we're finding is that with 1.1 million independent agents and brokers selling your products, you need to get them up to date with your products, accelerating new product families. How do you actually get people to understand and sell this stuff and get them to a point where they can give personalized offers so they can sell nearly all types of coverage? Well, we can ingest all the documents, manuals, all the regulatory legal elements, all the things that you're providing, and instantly provide that available, not just in a learning course, but actually in a web app, mobile, SMS, so that your folks, when they're actually talking to a customer, can instantly be the expert and the trusted advisor to deliver that. Reducing errors and omissions as well, which is a huge challenge we're finding with launching new products. We're also doing the same with property and casualty, where you can match people almost instantly with the best recommendations for what they need, again, just using a custom workflow. That's actually how our platform works. We build custom solutions by just pulling down the solutions you need using your internal data, your systems, and unlocking the value in the enterprise. We have a great team, and we don't have a lot of time yet, but one of the things that I think is amazing that we're finding is we actually have results. We've launched with Fortune 500 companies. We've got significant boosts in the performance from the early pilots that we're doing, and we're looking to work with more folks in this room here. So if you want to talk about a demo or a pilot program, we're here. If you remember anything, we're Sorcera with the Enterprise NLP Suite to give you and your team superpowers. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. Last 2 startups now, so please join me in welcoming to the stage Stefan from Automation Hero.
Thank you very much. Good morning. I'm Stefan. I started my first data science company in 1997. Started an open source big data platform called Hadoop with a couple other folks. Maybe you heard about that. Quantity of the data in the world is stored on that. Worked on the iPhone backend in 2005. And 2009, I started my last company called Datamere. 80% of all financial transactions in the US run on my last product. But 2 years ago, we saw even bigger opportunity, really turning data into action, make it actionable, and move from big data to AI, of course, and from business intelligence to business automation. So we automate repetitive, slow, painful business tasks. Anybody has those? Nobody, okay. And really, we're kind of the next generation of RPA platform, intelligent automation platform that really brings together the data, the AI models, really a human-friendly integration, and again, automates your business processes. Not rule-based, but cognitive capabilities, of course NLP, of course image processing, predictive, et cetera, et cetera. We're the first in the market, really, that allows you to point and click together your own AI models and your own automation flows very, very simply in a no-code environment. The biggest German healthcare insurance within 4 hours saved 18.5 years of manual labor. 4 hours after installing the product. So great response there. Second category of use cases, automating common customer requests, of course, input management, claim processing, a very big topic. The biggest insurance in the world uses us for exactly that. And the last category of use cases, really helping augmenting decision-making in certain business processes. $19 billion company, the moment they switched on our product, after a couple months of work, had 6% more revenue there. We really, in the core, are highly scalable processing platform, 60 million records per server, scaling up to 1,000 servers, integrating data from structured, unstructured sources, integrate your business processes, your systems, and of course, your people. Most importantly, you want to bring them along as you intelligently automate your business processes. As I mentioned, a very easy to use, point and click, no code environment where you click what we call flows together. And as mentioned, first product in the market that has a visual GUI to point and click together, deep learning models. And so we're really focusing here on overcoming the barrier of hiring data scientists and empowering your less technical users to work with AI models. I really appreciate your interest. We're here, we can tell you more and show you demos. We're Automation Hero. We intelligently automate repetitive business processes.
Thank you, Stefan. Last startup before we take a break. Please give a plug and play, very warm welcome to Larry from Social Leads.
Hello, everybody. So I'm the last one between you guys and a break. I'll try to go fast. So I'm Larry Hitchcock, CEO and co-founder of Social Leads. We're a company that started in February of last year as the winner of Northwestern Mutual's Reverse Pitch. It provided me as an entrepreneur a unique opportunity to work with one of the largest life insurance companies in the world and also one of the more conservative ones around a project that involved AI, social media, and life event detection. Since February, we've done a couple of things. We've launched the product. We're live in over 100 Northwestern Mutual field offices. We're coming out of our pilot with them, and next year we'll be fully deploying to the entire field. We've got 2 more pilots that I'll tell you about, and we're negotiating with a bunch more. What are we doing? So all the data shows that there's a generation gap going on in insurance and financial advising sales. Something like 25% of shortfall in the just total number of people in the business. More than 80% of the ones hired won't make it to year 3. So if you're in the financial services business, the life insurance business, or any other insurance practice, you need to figure out how to get people in the job and keep them. So what did we do? We crafted an artificial intelligence solution with machine learning algorithms that detect life events from an advisor or producer or agent social network. So here's some of the things that we're seeing right now. So we detect new baby, marriage, new job, new car, debt-free, new house, caregiving, retirement, and we have many more machine learning algorithms we're standing up every month. This is not Alexa is not her real name, but this is a real advisor in the Northwestern Mutual world. She made it to her first 6 months, and by the time she woke up on the first day of her 7th month, she had exhausted her warm market. She made the quota that she needed to do, and her prize for winning that quota was her quota went up 150%. So no leads to call and no prospects to go build any business on. So in the first 100 days after we put her on the system, we found more than 68,000 people in her near social networks. So Social Leads connects to her personal and professional social networks, and we go take a look at who she's connected to, and in some of the networks, we can go see who those people are connected to. We found more than 1,000 people in her near network that had meaningful life events that made it pertinent for her to go talk to them and invite them to meetings. She's booked more than 20 meetings and closed 5 new clients in the first 100 days. We also found more than 15 people in her network that we call top connectors. So these are people in her network that have strong warm markets of their own. So she's now calling up those people saying, hey, can you introduce me to all your friends that are having babies, buying new houses, buying new cars, paying off debts? In our early days, 200 days with one of our customers, this is some of the data in our database. We've got over 8 million people that we've taken a look at. Our natural language processors read all the social speech that's available to us and come up with almost 250,000 qualified leads. That's 250,000 people out of those 8 million who are talking about life events in recent times that matter to people in the financial services and insurance business. As I said, we've deployed some pilots. So Northwestern Mutual went live last fall in over 100 offices across the country. This year, we've rolled it out as all the way through to the entire field. And starting in January, we're going to all of their regional sales meetings to sell it out and deploy it to their entire field organization. CNO Financial Group, Bankers Life, is somebody that we were introduced to right here by Plug and Play. Thank you guys. They're rolling out a pilot in December. Western and Southern Financial Group is also rolling out. We have 2 other pilots from this list, as well as other companies in Q1 and Q2 that'll be lining up to put us out there. We're in the process of raising our Seed Plus round. It's almost full. There's a few slots left in it. Plug and Play is one of our current investors in our current round. We'll be upstairs, happy to demo for you, and very happy to talk to you about our round as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Larry. And that brings an end to the first kind of section of startups. So now we're going to have a break for a short 10 minutes and then come back and we'll listen to the rest of the PNC startups, where my colleague Ben will be taking over. So thank you very much, and we'll see you in 10 minutes.
My name is Masashi Nozaki, and I am the Vice President of the Digital Innovations at the Dai-ichi Life Silicon Valley office.
My name is Shin from MS&AD Ventures. We're one of the venture arm of the MS&AD Group, which is one of the biggest insurance groups in Japan.
My name is Takashi Tsuchimoto from Symptom Life.
And I'm Don Lemix from Symetra, a U.S. insurance company, and we're wholly owned by Sumitomo Life.
My name is Ted Okuma from Tokyo Marine Innovation Lab Silicon Valley.
My name is Takashi Sakakibara, Deputy Head of Innovation at Nissay or Nippon Life. So Nissay is one of the largest life insurance companies and investors in Japan.
My name is Jason Green. I'm a Senior Manager at Sompo Digital Lab in Silicon Valley. Japan is always welcome for business, and that it's highly overlooked in an underestimated market that has so much value to offer all startups, corporations included, regardless of industry, including the insurance spectrum.
We have been struggling to make a partnership with startups because some of startups cannot understand the value of Japanese market. The Japanese market is huge. There are a lot of attractive markets in Japan. Once we commit to have a partnership with some startups, we will have a great power to proceed the project together with startups.
One of the things that working with the startups does for us as a company is it exposes us to people who are already thinking out of the box. We have a certain perspective about the market, about our world, our business, that tends to lead us into dead ends. So startups give us that extra ability, that extra perspective that we want to then leverage and bring back into how we do business.
There's a lot that we didn't know about the Japanese market, and there's still a lot we don't know, but we learned a ton through the practice. And simply the fact that Plug and Play is putting such a great group of minds together in one spot, I think is fantastic. And also the fact that Plug and Play is both here in the Bay Area, but also in Japan, creates a really nice bridge and continuity in processes and language.
It allowed us, one, to connect with other individuals within the Japanese insurtech ecosystem, also to connect with our own partners that are here locally, both Dai-ichi and Sompo, who are our two main entities right now.
Everyone says Japanese corporates are slow. And I would say the insurance corporates, even in the US, is slow. So we are kind of double slows. But I just wanted to point out that I believe the number of the startups that companies are working is similar in US and Japan. Maybe US companies are quickly moving into POCs and trying out the technologies, but at the end, they cut down the numbers. So we need to take more time in the selection process of the first, POC, even the small POC. The number of the startups that we're gonna actually work with is not gonna be different. That's what I feel. Please stay with us and be patient, and then we can be a good partner.
If you could all start making your way to the seats now. So welcome back, everyone, to the second half of the startup pitches here today. I've traded in for Nick now, so you've got 2 token Brits having spoken to you guys today. So you're guaranteed to have seen the better half of us at some point. We're moving on with the P&C startups now, which is really exciting. So I hope you've all grabbed some refreshments, ready to go, get some energy back in, and keep on using the app. We've got a couple of apps that you've been spoken through. Make sure you're making full use of those, especially in the breaks, because we don't have the questions and stuff, so we're running through this. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome to the stage Jack from Cowbell Cyber.
Good morning. I'm Jack Kudial, founder and CEO of Cowbell Cyber. We founded Cowbell in January of 2019 with the core principle that cybersecurity lifecycle must include risk transfer strategies. It's a departure from prevention and detection of cyber attacks to loss mitigation in the aftermath of cyber attack. We are a standalone, individualized, and comprehensive cyber insurance provider backed by A+ paper, reputed reinsurance companies, and funded by InsurTech, cybersecurity, and AI funds. If you look at distribution and claims, it has its own challenges. But when it comes to cyber, the most technology-savvy line of product, cyber insurance, the root cause is in underwriting. Today, the underwriting is done using conference call, emails, a long, subjective, static application, and a single score, what you call a security score. And the single factor is just not good enough. And the fact that the magnitude and the frequency of cyber events is making this more complex. Over the last 1 year, we built a continuous underwriting platform using proprietary, non-proprietary data, our AI models, and a continuously assess risk rating factor, we call it cowbell factor. Now that the brokers can quote and bind cyber policies in less than 5 minutes, the policyholder can activate policy in less than 3 clicks, and application has 0 questions. We haven't heard that in the industry so far. And throughout this process, the policyholder has no more than 6 notifications or touch points or interactions. And all of this is happening on a single data source so that there is a greater transparency in risk selection and pricing. Next month, we are going to market with our first product, Cowbell Prime 100, with 7 coverages up to $5 million in limits in 6 US states. We'll follow up with Prime 250 products sometime mid-year with 20+ coverages and up to $15 million in limits. At this time, we can price up to 100,000 small to medium-sized businesses without having to ask a single question to those businesses. We're actively busy in appointing brokers in Arizona, Colorado, and California. Last but not least, a quick screenshot here for you that shows the individualized and a granular cowbell factors for an organization, a small to medium-sized business, and a corresponding code that's based on these cowbell factors that shows the insurability gap at the time of binding. So thank you, and I hope we can answer any questions you have throughout the rest of the day. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Jack. And next up, we have Michael from Claim Technology.
Thank you very much. My name is Michael Lewis. I'm the CEO at Claim Technology, and I'm part of a team with over 100 years in insurance claims processing. Claims are shocking, aren't they? They're really, really dreadful. Ask my mum, for example. When she purchased travel insurance for a once-in-a-lifetime holiday back in May, she thought that her insurer was making a promise to her to reimburse her when things went wrong. Instead, elderly, in poor health, and several thousands of dollars out of pocket, she's still waiting for her claim to be settled or even accepted 7 months after filing the claim. And it's this type of experience that you and I go through every single day, which is at the heart of the fundamental lack of trust between consumers and insurers. In P&C alone, we're over-promising and under-delivering on over $900 billion worth of claim spend. And we also spend over $139 billion manually processing those claims. Claim Technology has developed the industry's first claims-as-a-service platform. Our mission is to make claims so fast and so easy, your customers will want to buy insurance from you rather than churning to one of your competitors after having a bad claims experience. To paraphrase Henry Ford, we're not trying to create faster adjusters. Our Claims-as-a-Service platform is designed to power the digital, touchless, or right touch claim. It's about creating a fundamental shift from adjuster-controlled processes to customer-centric self-serve processes, achieving the same level of disruption in insurance claims that we've seen in retail banking. You can use our platform for any type of claim, and it works as a layer on top of your existing legacy systems. Our platform is modular, meaning you can use as much or as little of the platform as you'd like. One of our applications, for example, is design. It enables anybody in operations to design and launch customer-centric journeys without any IT involvement. If you're looking for a customer front end, our Capture application is a conversational UI that works entirely in the web to automate the data capture process. Or maybe you're looking for a portal to provide your brokers or supply chain partners or customers with online access to their claim at any time from any device. Or maybe you just want to use our out-of-the-box integrations into leading insurtech and fintech solutions, or use our over 200 APIs to connect into your own systems. However you use our platform, we're confident you're going to make an operational saving of up to 34% and to deploy IT change faster. But don't take my word for it. We've been Industry Awards finalists 6 times in 2019 and winner of the Insurance Technology of the Year Awards. And so if you're interested, I invite you to join the more than 25 B2B customers that have signed up in the last quarter alone. Thanks for your time.
Thank you so much, Michael. Next up, we have Isaac from GeoX.
Hello, everyone. My name is Isaac Lavie. I'm CEO and co-founder at GeoX. GeoX leveraging geospatial imagery, AI, and our patents to provide the most advanced solution for property data. So, a few years ago, I was a team leader of innovation team in the intelligence unit in Tel Aviv. We needed accurate and detailed information to do a critical decision. However, there had a huge gap between what we expected to get and what we actually received. So I decided to start with GeoX. So let's take a look at the 3 main problems in the value chain of the insurance industry today. The first is underwriting rely on poor data that came from public information, tax collection, and etc. The second one is long processing of underwriting and claim. The third is high losses from natural disaster. Today, it takes up to 1 year to pay all the compensation to the customer. Do you think this customer will stay after 1 year? So what we are doing? First, we feed our algorithm with aerial imagery. We have partners that give us countrywide coveraging of aerial imagery up to date. Our algorithm analyzes in 3D dimension and provides us accurate and detailed information on entire areas. This data we provide to our customer. So how does the data look like? So we know that 40% of all the claim is about the roofing. So we bring roof condition, roof type, solar panel, etc. With that, we bring unique information that you cannot measure even when you send someone to the asset, like what is the volume of the building or what is the complexity of the facet. For commercial needs, we bring unique information for commercial. With that, we bring 3D modeling of the building with real texture mesh. From this, you can know exactly how the buildings look like without to send someone to the asset. In the natural disaster, we combine our capabilities with Munich Re. So we bring the measurements. From this, you know what is the value of the building. Munich Re brings the damage recognition, so you know exactly how much damage there are in the property. And you can pay the compensation to your customer less than 1 week. So what is the value the insurance get today to working with us? So first, better customer experience. Second is saying underwriting in one shot when you have customer in your phone or in the website. And the third is reducing by 25% of all the claim expenses. Thank you very much. I will be happy to give you answer in our booth. Thank you.
That was Isaac with GeoX. And next to the stage, we have Tal with Resec.
Good morning, everyone. It is great to be here with you. Resec is a cyber company providing organizations with the ultimate protection from file-based malware threats. Both known threats, but a lot more importantly, unknown threats, zero-day attacks. We do this through patented content disarm and reconstruction technology, which is known as CDR. We are here because the insurance industry is under constant attack. On top of the risks remains malware, unfortunately, continuing to grow rapidly. The fascinating thing is that more than 90% of cyber attacks, malware attacks, I apologize, start with a document. It's email bodies, it's the Office suite, and many non-standards. There are many existing solutions. All of them have significant limitations. Resec has come up with a completely new solution to this very old problem. Complete prevention, not traditional detection. This is how we do it. We treat every file as a threat, which is why we'll keep the original file outside of the network always. Our software then studies that file, every bit, every byte, every component, and every element. And in real time, we'll put together a brand new document. A perfect, fully functional replica of the original, one that we put together from scratch, which is why we can guarantee that it is threat-free. Let me illustrate this. We have a PDF approaching your organization's network. We will never let it in. We then create the replica that I mentioned. It will look the same. It will feel the same colors, same fonts, same formulas, and so on and so forth. This is what we'll pass to the end user. The end user will not be able to tell the difference, yet is completely secured. Guys, this is a game-changing solution. We offer our customers complete prevention, minimal impact to BAU, and a solution that is easy to deploy and maintain. Our customers, well, they tell us that with Resec, they get a good night's sleep. Not that common in the cyberspace. We are a proven solution. We've successfully been in the market since 2014. Our customers span across industries. We have military and defense, the financial sector, critical infrastructure, government offices, airlines, and many, many more. Our focus now is growing and expanding outside of Israel. We've established key relationships with channels all over the world in primary markets. We're extremely proud of recent achievements, signing with Tech Data here in the US, key distributors in Japan, Hong Kong, and other locations, being a partner with NTT-Com through Plug and Play here, and becoming a portfolio company of Plug and Play here in the Valley. Our team is a mix of seasoned executives, lead investors, and company advisors, including former head of the Israeli Mossad. I'd love to have a discussion with each and every one of you after this session and explain how we can better your organization's security. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much, Tal. And next up, we have Shatadru from Halos.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. I'm Shatadru, CEO and founder at Halos. Before starting Halos, I was at DataRobot. It's a unicorn in the AI part and the pioneer of the automated machine learning. And I was the general manager of insurance practice. I built the insurance practice from pre-revenue to a multi-million-dollar business. And I spent 4 years at Liberty Mutual Group and 3 years at AIG. And I started my career at Deloitte. So the reason we started Halos was customer engagement problem. One of the profound problems that we didn't really solve in the insurance, in the consumer insurance. And with Halos, we are starting to solve that problem. We are starting with homeowners insurance. So insurance industry has 3 times more customer churn than any other major industry. And this is a fascinating chart that I got in internet. So if we look at the spend in advertising, TV advertising, we see that top 6, we have 50% representation from the insurance companies, State Farm, Progressive, and Geico. Nothing wrong, but the way insurance is set up, we have to spend a lot of time to remind customers that we exist. Now, it's not just an incumbent's problem. I took this blog from Lemonade, and Lemonade is doing many things right in the customer side, but even in their blog, it is not really showing sympathy to customers that you really, we are going to help you to protect your asset. If you read this blog, they are basically saying that if you don't do home maintenance, then we are not going to cover you. And we are not going to give you any tips or any help or any guidance how to do that. So we thought that there is a striking problem that we can solve for customer, which in return solve our customer engagement problem from insurance company's side. So we built Dobby. Okay, so Dobby is coming from the Harry Potter's house elf. And what we are really doing is AI-driven, zero-touch, fully digital home maintenance platform for 21st century homeowners. And the mission is very simple: a safer and hassle-free lives for homeowners, and improved loss ratio and customer engagement for insurance companies. Dobby gives a single-family homeowner superpower to outsource all things home maintenance. So let me take you through the platform. What insurance companies tried so far with the help of sensors companies is that pushing product to our homeowners. And that did not really work because no one likes to get product from another company. What we are doing is solving the customer's problem, take a human-centric approach. Let me take you through that. Number one is on-demand maintenance. So we are right now active in the DC metro area, where we are headquartered, Washington, DC. And if you happen to have a problem, you can actually get a service provider in the next 24 hours using the app. We have a Credit Karma-like setup that will tell you a lot about what is going on in your house. You tap into different sources of data, apply AI to get more data and different sources of data. And you can actually call a handyman from Alexa. And we can connect with smart devices like Google and Samsung. And in the Northeast right now, there is a huge temperature drop, and you actually get notification from Hellos that there is a freezing temperature. We are completing the app with a very simple thing that is you can submit FNOL as a homeowner using our app, so insurance company have a better customer engagement. We partner with insurance company as a platform as a service. We distribute through you, and we actually take a little percentage of your premium. You know my background. I have a co-founder from Uber, Helen Renninger. Helen actually joined us last month, and she spent 6 years at Uber, one of the earliest employees, and she's a chief operating officer. We have two incredible engineers, Veniamin and Yuri, and we got a TechCrunch AI top pick in 2019. So our first check came from Plug and Play. We got funded by Techstars as well. And we have board member Paul Mung, who is one of the angel investors as well, who was a McKinsey insurance lead for many years, right now with Guidewire. So looking forward to talking to you. We are here to build partnership with insurance companies in the P&C space, and thank you so much for your time.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Shadru. And next up, we have Andrew from Capella Space.
Good morning. I'm Andrew, and I wanted to tell you about yet another hurricane that has hit the Gulf Coast or perhaps Japan. As the situation on the ground develops, it's important to get reliable information. However, power's out, comms are down, you can't fly a drone, and you can't fly in the air. You're trying to answer some critical questions. First and foremost, how can you help your customers quickly to get some relief? Second, how can you send in your adjusters in a way that's safe and efficient? And finally, how can you assess your loss in a quick and reliable way? Well, folks have tried satellites, but most of you who are familiar with satellites have probably seen something like this after a storm. Or maybe you've seen something like this, because storms are just as likely to happen at night as they are during the day. Well, at Capella, we operate a fleet of radar satellites. And what's different about radar is that radar, unlike optical or cameras, can see through smoke and see through clouds, and it can also see at night. And so we're putting up a fleet of high-resolution satellites to get information quickly. How are we changing the paradigm for remote sensed imagery? Well, number one, we're creating this reliability in all conditions. Number two, we're creating images and data every hour or within the hour. And third, we're creating high-resolution imagery, which comes with more data that can be used for AI to understand things on the ground, which I'll tell you about in just a moment. Finally, today's satellites can be tasked or requested for imagery, but only within days will you get a result at your desktop. With our constellation, we're using all the latest technology, including cloud computing, real-time communications, APIs, et cetera, to give you imagery within an hour. Hourly imaging lets you look as the disaster evolves, so you can see where the extent of water is, you can see what infrastructure looks like, and how damage is progressing. You can look not only at the policy level, but you can look at an aggregate level to answer those key questions, to help customers with their individual properties, to manage efficient adjuster operations, and finally to understand your loss at the aggregate level. For floods, we can look not just at the extent of water, but we can look at the depth of water. We can look at what roads are passable and what roads aren't. And with algorithms or AI or machine learning, whatever you want to call it, we can assess damage to individual buildings. Capella is looking at a number of markets. We have customers in areas other than insurance, but we want to work with you to bring this technology that for decades has been used only by defense and intelligence into this commercial world. Capella was founded by NASA scientists and Stanford grads. We're headquartered in San Francisco. We're well funded by some of the top VCs here in the Valley, and we want to work with you to bring this technology to insurance. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Andrew. Next up, we have Dayan with Goose Insurance. Welcome to the stage.
Hi there. My name is Dion, and I'm the co-founder of Goose Insurance. We're an InsurTech challenger, and we exist to bring simplicity, speed, and convenience to consumer insurance. And we're doing that by building a super app, D2C, for consumers. And we're addressing two major problems in the industry. The first is actually the distribution of insurance is shifting. Consumers want instant access and self-serve, similar to these other companies that are listed here. The second problem is consumers globally are underinsured. For example, in Canada, 75% of consumers do not have a personal term life policy. Why? Well, it really has a lot to do with legacy distribution channels and their inefficiencies, as well as the underwriting process is very difficult with a lack of data. Our solution is building a super app for all lines of consumer insurance across both P&C and life, where consumers can easily identify, educate different lines of insurance and buy instantly, as well as get support or view their policies in the app. The market timing is really right today because consumers in the next few years will be spending $6.3 trillion on mobile apps on their mobile devices. 4.4 billion mobile devices can be converted into insurance storefronts through a mobile app. So the question is, will consumers actually buy insurance through a mobile app? Well, I'm actually happy to report we've had some great traction. We've launched in Canada, and with our seed funding, we've built a full-stack D2C platform. We launched our first product, travel insurance. We've had over 25,000 people actually download the app and sign up. We've actually issued 6,500 policies, which 88% have actually been self-serve. The largest policy we sold self-serve was $2,400, and the oldest person to purchase self-serve was 88 years old. And what's surprising is that this is not a millennial platform. It actually appeals to all consumers. It's mass market. As I mentioned, we have consumers from 18 years old to 92 being the oldest member, and it's actually equally balanced between male and female. Our whole strategy is cross-selling, so we want to get in wedge with one product and then sell other products to the consumer. Our objectives are to really scale up and reach 1 million customers. We want to generate $500 share of wallet for each customer in policy premiums, and that's going to be about 3 policy premiums. Our team is really strong. This is our second InsurTech startup, and we have taken a seed investment from a VC in Canada. These are some of our partners that we work with today. And we're here today to find partners, insurance carriers and reinsurance partners to build other products with us, as well as we're commencing our Series A. And we want to thank the Plug and Play team. We've had 25 meaningful discussions, introductions with people in their ecosystem. So thank you very much.
Thanks so much. That was Goose Insurance. And next up, we have Robert with MirrorMe.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Robert, CEO of MirrorMe. And we provide a visual evidence platform, which essentially makes it really easy to collect photos, videos, documents, even text responses from your customers through self-service inspection or self-service surveys that you can use for claims and inspections. What I wanted to tell you about today is just short information about how one of our large carrier clients, global carrier, is using us to collaborate better with one of their retail clients. So this global carrier insures the largest retailer in Spain, and recently this retailer suffered a sizable loss at one of their stores. So they immediately started taking steps to kind of figure out how do they prevent additional losses at other stores and mitigate their exposures. So what we did is we worked with the carrier to introduce a pilot with the retailer where they introduced a new loss control pilot that allowed the retailer to remotely survey all the other storefronts using our platform, and we made it really easy for them. And the local teams at all of these individual stores were able to easily snap photos and videos and send them back to the carrier and the retailer. The surveys that were built were actually built collaboratively between the carrier and the retail client. And the retailers were able to very easily select, and customize which tasks were going to be sent to each of the stores, because the retailers have intimate knowledge of, what facilities are each of their locations. And everything that we've built within our platform, we've kind of focused on this app-free experience where we're really not expecting any users to download an app. And so when the retail store managers got these, got links from us via SMS, they didn't have to download anything. There was no training and no onboarding. All they really needed to do was start taking photos and uploading videos back to the teams. The ease of use of our platform is really demonstrated by, or reflected by how much data we got back from each of the stores. And it was really insightful for the retail teams because in most cases they had never seen what was going on in each of those locations. So it was a great amount of data for them. But the loss control pilot was not great just for the retailer. It was actually really great for the carrier because as it turns out this past year, the retailer had a 30-year cycle where they went back out to the market and were looking for other insurance options. And as they were reviewing the market, they realized that there were no other carriers out there that had the type of collaboration capabilities that this current carrier had. So they decided to stick with this carrier, and that was one of their stated reasons that they felt the carrier was very innovative and had this great collaboration solution. So the carrier was able to actually renew a huge 30-year contract that covered everything from liability to cyber to property and finance and engineering as well. So if you guys are carriers and you're looking for a platform that can help you better collaborate with your clients, I'd love to talk to you. I'm Robert with MirrorMe. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was Robert with MirrorMe. And next up to the stage, we have Lance with Juniper Labs. Welcome.
Hi, I'm the CEO of Juniper Labs, and we build automated underwriting technology for commercial insurers. We have a suite of APIs that help answer questions like, who are you? What do you do? How much of it do you do? And has any of that changed? We're working with 3 carriers, and we've been seeing excellent results. Our business classification API outperforms human underwriting accuracy by 10%. And with 1 carrier, we're routinely getting to a quote in under 2 minutes. And in only 6 months, we've grown revenue to $25K. And as exciting as all that is, it pales in comparison to what we're going to do next. But before we get there, let's take a trip back to the 1600s. I want to talk about alchemy. So the first chemists were intentionally private and secretive until a group of alchemists got together and created the first ever academic journal. Alchemists invented open source. Let's fast forward 300 years. There's a system called Gopher that was actually taking off faster than the World Wide Web until the University of Minnesota decided to charge for Gopher. And by charging for the system, the university signaled that Gopher would be private and closed. And this caused Tim Berners-Lee to draft a resolution saying the World Wide Web would be open and free. Let's listen to Tim.
And it has to be open. If it hadn't been open, it would have been a walled garden. And the moment you start a walled garden, people look at it and they say, oh, that looks lucrative. We can do that better. Huh. And we would have had all these independent systems, and those programs wouldn't work together. You wouldn't have been able to follow a link from one to the other. So basically, the web would never, I don't think it would have got the critical mass.
So back to that big, exciting idea. We're going to take 35 million business records that we have and make those open for anyone to use. In January of 2020, we're going to launch the first ever open data set purpose-built for commercial insurance. And we're doing this because we believe data is not a product, data is a platform. The thing that excites us about the philosophy of open source is that it allows for answers to emerge in places we could never imagine. We want to live in a world where the Accord form is a thing of the past. We want to live in a world where the $40 billion that's wasted in insurance fraud is eliminated. As we've had the privilege of being a part of Plug and Play, we've seen firsthand just how forward-thinking this community is. And because of that, we want to invite the partners of Plug and Play to be anchor members of this open data community. If this is exciting to you, go to openjuniper.com to sign up or talk to a member of our team during the summit. We're setting out to dramatically change the way the industry views data, and we believe the future of insurance is open. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lance. So next up, we were going to have Provisico. Unfortunately, they've had a couple of delays with their flights, but they're going to be here later. So if any of you guys want to meet them or do demos with them, they'll be at the networking sessions. So do get in touch with them there. So that said, next up, we've got Itai with Agilius. Welcome to the stage.
Hi, everybody. So we all know the TV series Friends, right? We grew up on it. It's a funny sitcom about friends living across from each other in New York in a multifamily building and about the relationships between them. What the TV series doesn't tell you is that all these nice friends, Rachel, Ross, and friends, they need to buy insurance, right? Like everybody. So Chandler and Rachel were actually able to buy their insurance online from Lemonade and Hippo, saving them both time and money. Excellent. But Phoebe, who's the chairperson of the Homeowner Association Board, she's got a problem. Because she needs to buy insurance covering the entire building. And when it comes to buying this type of insurance called habitational insurance, there are no online options. She has to fill endless paper forms, get on multiple phone calls, and wait for 3 weeks just to get one quote. Crazy, right? Now, Friends' insurance problems are interesting, but it becomes serious business when you think about 60 million US households living in multifamily buildings and communities requiring habitational insurance. And while it's pretty easy to insure the interior of the units, obtaining habitational insurance is still a huge pain. And it is a pain for three main reasons. The first one, getting a quote takes 3 weeks and it's all paper-based and manual. The second one is it is hell expensive. The fragmented market, the lack of transparency in the market, multiple middlemen, and the outdated simplistic actuary models make a lot of our clients overpay for insurance. And lastly, the insurance our clients obtain is not relevant anymore. That's why we think habitational insurance, which is a $21 billion market in the US, is a blue ocean just waiting to be disrupted. And that's where we come in. Agilius is an end-to-end digital insurance platform, changing the way habitational insurance is purchased, underwritten, and managed. And how we do that? So instead of inefficient and outdated process of paper forms and faxes, we use a slick online interface allowing our clients to rate quote bind in minutes. And instead of outdated plain vanilla risk models, we use big data and AI, allowing our customers to get much more precise quotes and making us a lot more attractive to the preferred risk pools out there. And lastly, the coverage we provide is hyper-customizable and suitable for what people actually need in 2019. Now, this is a pretty big undertaking, but with a team of Stanford PhDs, Wharton MBAs, and 25-year insurance veterans, I can assure you that we are well on our way to transform this industry. So if that's interesting to you, come and talk to me after that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next up, we have Greg with Relay. Welcome to the stage.
Hi, everyone. How are you today? Thanks for the opportunity. Some of you have already heard my pitch, so I'm going to summarize it in one word: reinsurance. If you deal with any reinsurance, come and see me at the booth after that. For those of you who don't care, let me tell you why you should. First of all, we're a bit late for that, but happy Thanksgiving, USA, because I'm from Canada. Originally from France, that's the accent. I hope you had a great time. Reinsurance is critical to insuring and ensuring society. You might have heard of all the hurricanes. My colleague was talking about it earlier. The people ultimately backing the reconstruction of all this are the reinsurers. The other reason you probably want to care about it, especially if you're an insurer, is because it's the difference between your profits and your losses. It can represent roughly, on average, 10% of your premium being transferred over to reinsurers. It's a $200 billion market. And the Lloyd's CEO recently mentioned that their cost of doing business was between 30 and 40%. Now, if you've listened to the news recently, the prices of reinsurance and catastrophe insurance are going through the roof. Sorry for the joke here. Some people got it. You know, in the double digits. So if you don't do anything about your insurance, you might want to take a look at it. Today, that's the value chain of reinsurance, which kind of explains some of the cost. But a lot of these steps here are justified. The problem is they're not supported by technology very well. So I was sitting down with some underwriters and some ceding people. So the cedants are the people buying reinsurance at insurers and looking at how they do their job today. And it's all emails, and they forget quotes, and there's errors in about 40% of the policies. And then I asked them, well, why don't you have a system for this? And she's like, oh, yeah, I do have one. Oh, so why don't you use it? Well, I use it after the fact. Once everything is said and done, then I go to my system, and I rekey everything, which makes no sense in this day and age, obviously. You can see all these systems at the bottom here. It's all siloed. Nothing talks to each other. It's a bit of a mess. Many people have tried. To fix that, we think the problem is they forgot the end user. They did not actually sit down with the people doing the job every day, and they didn't understand what was going on in their mailbox and in their shared folder and DIY solution they created. Like currently, we're replacing 3 Access databases. So we do a lot of things, but we do 3 things well, and I'll leave you with that thought. We help people build and structure placements through visual risk towers. We help push that to reinsurers and brokers to receive quotes. We also integrate with documents and absorb quotes through email. We also integrate with Excel, which they love. So we've decided to keep it simple, and we don't have any AI for now, but that's how we help reinsurers. And ultimately, we speed up the process, and we give you a full dashboard of your reinsurance placement. Thank you very much. Come and see me to see the rest of the slides.
Thank you very much, Greg. So we have 2 more startups now, and then after that, we're going to have a People's Choice Award, so the voting will open for your favorite startup of the day. So I'll let you know when that's going to happen. In the meantime, though, we've got Ayub from Breach. Welcome to the stage.
Thanks. Thanks, everyone. I'm Ayub Ejaz from Breach Insurance. We're a cyber insurance startup focused on digital asset exposures in the blockchain space. I think everyone knows or has heard of blockchain and digital assets and cryptocurrencies and the rally that it's had over the last couple of years, reaching almost a peak of $1 trillion in market capitalization, supported by recent regulation in Germany and Bermuda, but really been, and you know, large conglomerates like Fidelity having 200 people dedicated to the space. But really it's been overshadowed by events that you're seeing on the bottom, multi-million-dollar hacks that are negatively impacting individual consumers such as yourself. What we're doing is what we've done is created a cyber insurance product that has taken a conservative approach to risk selecting at the enterprise level where these events are taking place, but individually underwriting it and guaranteeing issuing a product to the insureds. What I'm going to do now is show you a quick preview of our platform, and then we'll get into how we're risk selecting and how our distribution works. I think the big pain point for the insurers in this room is that, you know, how do I get comfortable with this commercial risk? And what our product does is allows insurers to apply limited insurance capacity and issuing the product only on the individual level versus a commercial level and having larger exposures. In terms of distribution, what we're doing is offering our product direct to consumer, we're working directly with pre-vetted super preferred exchanges. We're also embedding our product into the user journey of select exchanges. So being able to offer our product similar to how trip cancellation insurance works or Trove. And thirdly, what we're doing is working with insurers to offer this product as an endorsement to say, a homeowner's policy or a renter's policy. Could be as little as a $2,000 or $2,500 worth of coverage. It's a quick way of background. I spent the last 7 years at Liberty Mutual working on emerging products, technologies, and distribution partnerships. So I actually sat on the other side, assessing pilot partners, assessing new partnerships. And actually, just as of yesterday, have a CTO and co-founder that was the first employee and head of engineering at Civic, a leading blockchain company, working with an awesome cybersecurity expert, led the cybersecurity program at the Pentagon, was Hanover's CISO. So yeah, if you want to chat, let's connect afterwards. Maybe we'll show you a demo, talk more about the product.
Really exciting stuff. So we're on to the final startup of the day, which isn't an easy slot. So let's welcome, with a big round of applause, Mike from Deep Fraud to the stage.
Hi, everyone, and thank you for making it this far, the last startup of the day. So the loss ratios of your business are what defines your profitability. I'd like to talk to you about the way that we're using big data and external data collection to make a drastic improvement in fraud detection, case triage, and then actual investigation. So we're bringing investigation into the digital age by using comprehensive internal data, meaning data that your P&C claims have inherently within them, and your underwriting data collection over the last 10, 20, 30 years of your business, with very impactful external data sets that triangulate risk factors for claimants. So let's talk about exactly how this works. So first, we have historical claims. This is the most data-rich industry in the world in this room, and I'm sorry to say, you don't get an A for using your data quite yet. We're going to help you unlock that historical data. Secondly, we're going to combine it with external risk factors, things like financial history, employment information, what's going on in a claimant's life that might push them to maybe push the edges of a policy or commit fraud outright. And third, we're combining clinical data enrichment. Our system has a more comprehensive view of medical outcomes, what's normal, what's abnormal. And the most important thing here, the thing that I want you guys to take away, is that all of this exists in one single model. These are not different models with different data sources predicting different things. This is the single most advanced model of a claim normalcy and a claim abnormality of any player in the market. So what are we doing with that model? Well, we're wrapping it in a very simple to use product for your claim staff. The first part of the product is fraud detection and triage. We're automatically combining all these factors into risk scores and bubbling up claims that need a second look. And second, within each individual claim, we're giving you specific reasons, specific risk factors, documents, and attribution of that risk so you can prioritize your investigations. Investigators will know where to start, what to do next, and no pathway will be up to kind of a random guess or chance. They'll know exactly where to follow the leads. So we are a team of technologists from Google, Microsoft, Bridgewater, Bloomberg, Waymo, and Guidewire who have come together to bring these data analytics to the market. We have a great team of investors, including Plug and Play, who we're very proud to be representing. And we're working with 2 top 15 carriers in both disability insurance as well as workers' compensation, with a general liability pilot to start next month. We're very interested in talking with claims leaders here in the Plug and Play ecosystem, and I hope you all have a great lunch.
Thank you so much. And that wraps up all of our P&C startups for the afternoon. So another big round of applause for all of them who've been on stage today. This also does mean that the People's Choice Award is now open for voting. So if you go into the event app, there should be a link in there that you can vote on. I'm not sure exactly where, but if you have any problems with it, talk to one of the staff members and they'll be happy to help. In the meantime, we have some exciting news for you guys. We're launching our flagship education innovation platform, which is called University 165. So hands up, who knows about that in here? So only a few of you. Okay, awesome. Well, I won't talk about it too much. We'll just let the video do the talking.
University 165 is our new elite executive education program here at Plug and Play Tech Center. Our corporate partners were looking for additional content, not just what to do, but how to do it. So in response, we created a series of courses on innovation, venture capital, and high-performance management, with more courses coming soon. The basis of these courses are real-life case studies from our corporate partners on what's worked for them and what hasn't. The courses are rooted in industry best practices mixed with cutting-edge academic models. It really covers strategy, process, structures, and culture.
And also is very rich just discussion within the class with the other corporates that are in similar positions. What stage are they at? What have they tried that worked and doesn't work?
We want to stay on the cutting edge and constantly look at different technologies and innovation that we can drive back into our core business as well as to our customers, that keeps us at the front end of innovation in general.
We can develop great technology or we can find great technology externally, but we really have to implement consistent strategies throughout our organization to make those technologies something that we can actually commercialize and adopt at scale.
We're really excited about our program and hope you can join us.
So hopefully you guys are excited about that as we are. So it'll be Nima who'll be leading that, who you just saw talking. And if you want any information, again, Plug and Play team around, they can help and support and put you in touch with anyone. Next bit of exciting stuff we've got to move on to now is the awards for the day. So first of all, I think, can't remember, do we have a break now, guys? No break. Okay, we're going straight to the awards then. So first of all will be the Corporate Innovation Award. So there'll be Eugenio, who is our director here, who is going to be introducing that to one of our corporates here. So Eugenio, welcome to the stage.
Hi, everyone. We're very excited today to announce our Corporate Innovation Award. This year's winner is an exceptional company. They've been a partner of Plug and Play from 2017. But just to give you a sense of where they are at in terms of their innovation journey, they've done 16 POCs, and at the same time, they've moved contracts with over 15 companies. So they're embodying the spirit of what we want to see in terms of our corporate partners here at Plug and Play. Moreover, their innovation team works alongside with their CVC team and has resulted in 9 investments so far, many of which are startups within our ecosystem, which makes us very proud. So what's also worth highlighting is the fact that one of the most innovative initiatives that we've seen so far from this corporate partner is their Pop-Up Innovation Lab, which is a cross-functional team assembled for the purpose of exploring both internal and external ideas. And those ideas are meant to have a tangible impact within the insurance industry, and at the same time being developed within inside the company. And so we're very excited to announce that this year's winner of the Corporate Innovation Award is EMC. Please help me welcome to the stage Jason Gross and Angela Noble, the catalyst at EMC's innovation efforts.
So thank you, Plug and Play, very much for this recognition. You know, I was just thinking back to when EMC joined Plug and Play, I think for batch 2 of InsurTech. And like so many companies at that time, we were, I guess, just starting our innovation journey. I call that the chasing the shiny object days. And it's amazing to see how far we have come as an organization over the last 2 years. And I can't understate the role that Plug and Play has been throughout that entire journey. But like most things, you really get out of it what you put into it. And we have really stepped up our collaboration, our partnership with Plug and Play over the last couple of years. A lot of that is thanks to our innovation manager, Angela Noble, who joined EMC last year, working with Karen and Trisha and Randy and the entire team. We have really been able to increase our partnership and our collaboration that has not only resulted in some of those proof of concepts turning into actual commercial agreements and to the investments, but it's really been leveraging the entire ecosystem. So it's not just about the InsurTechs, although that's a big part of what we and all of you get out of the Plug and Play ecosystem. it's also been the networking, the engagement with the team here and with our other carrier partners. So thank you for this recognition. We're very pleased and honored to be a part of Plug and Play.
Amazing. That's really awesome to hear, the engagement that those guys have been through over the last year. And I think it's testament to what you can do with an innovation platform if you really, really buy into it and engage with the startups that are in front of you. So next up, we have the Startup Choice Award, which is going to be presented by Rachel, our lovely program manager. Welcome to the stage.
Thank you, Ben. Hi, everybody. Again, I'm Rachel. I'm the program manager for the InsurTech program. Thank you all so much for coming. Our cohort of 30 has really grown a lot over these 12 weeks, and it's been really exciting to be a part of their journey. So I'm really honored now to present the People's Choice Award today to Hans and Rob at Centro. If you guys want to come up really quick. All the way from New Zealand. At least they got something, right?
Well, thanks, Rich. I'm going to pass the microphone to the guy with the real New Zealand accent. This is Rob Ellis, our CEO and co-founder.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. Yes, Kiwi accent. Won't tell any curling stories, though. I'll leave that to Hans. We're honoured to be part of Plug and Play. It's been an amazing experience for us, well beyond our expectations, and thanks to Rachel and everyone here for the opportunity and for the recognition. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. All right, and I think I'm going to hand it back over to Ben, but thank you all so much for coming.
Thank you, Rachel. So I hope you've all got a lot out of today. We're moving on to the closing remarks, which means lunch is very, very close now. So thank yous, really. Thank you so much to all the startups who've been here today and have come and pitched on stage. Get another round of applause for those guys. To all of you, the corporates, who, this wouldn't be the same without, we thank you for your continued engagement with us and really hope it continues into the future, and we're looking forward to the next batch with you. So again, another round of applause. And then finally to the P&P team, and particularly to the program manager and the events team who have helped put on this big show today. So thank you so much to you guys. So what next? So we got lunch will be on the second floor patio and the SF room as well. We've got Brella Networking, which will be at the second floor cafe. The startup demo tables will be on the second floor events. The Enterprise Expo will be beginning at 1:30 for any of you guys who are going to be joining us for that. And hopefully we'll see you all tonight at the Levi's Stadium. Final thing, for the anchors who are part of the anchor advisory sessions, 3:30 till 5 on the third floor auditorium. So thanks so much for coming along, and we really appreciate it.
We brought Silicon Valley and Plug and Play Tech Center right here to Des Moines, Iowa at EMC Insurance headquarters and streamed that live across to all of our branch office locations. We brought them to our Innovation for Breakfast, which here at EMC, innovation is one of our core values. And one of the ways that we've helped drive innovation across EMC is building that innovative culture. And Innovation for Breakfast is one of those ways that we're able to do that.
This is something that we actually realized a couple of years ago when we started visiting some of our corporate headquarters. The ability to bring them to Silicon Valley is very powerful, but this culture change needs to happen more company-wide. And we can't obviously bring a whole company to Silicon Valley, but we could definitely bring Silicon Valley to that whole company.
One of the reasons the Plug and Play partnership is so important and so valuable is because the insurance industry is really entering a perfect storm of regulatory innovation, insurtech, and customer experience. Things are rapidly changing in our industry, and the partnership with Plug and Play allows us to stay on top of the technology, not just here in the US, but globally.